NASCAR Winston Cup racing on FX, brought to you by Pontiac, fuel for the soul. They call Richmond the short track that drives like a super speedway. And the drivers are getting ready to go under the lights. 400 laps, 300 miles. Now let's check how our experts think they'll do. First, let's check the standings between Jeff, Darrell, and Larry. And at the moment, Larry McReynolds leads, followed by DW and Jeff Hammond at the back of the pack. So who do they like tonight? Well, DW is going to go with Rusty Wallace. Jeff will take Tony Stewart. And Larry McReynolds is going to go with Jeff Burton. Many are still thinking, of course, about the family and Jerry Nadeau recovering in a nearby hospital. The team pushing forward. Jason Keller taking that ride over for Jerry Nadeau. And let's check in with Matt Yoakum, who is with Jason Keller. Matt?
And Chris, Jason Keller buckling in. Jason, can you kind of describe the pressure tonight? Because not only are you making your first Winston Cup start, you're trying to help a team through a very tough time.
Well, yeah, it's, you know, I've always dreamed of my first Winston Cup start, and rather it not happen like this, but, you know, U.S. Army guys have been great to me, and our thoughts and prayers are with Jerry and Jada, and just, I'm going to fill in for tonight and do the best I can and see what happens.
They couldn't get a better relief driver. 1 win, 5 top 5s in the Busch Series here at Richmond. Chris?
All right, thanks, Matt. Just to recap, Jerry Nadeau, vital signs improving. Doctors are encouraged. The drivers now focus on the race tonight from Richmond. Let's go down trackside for pre-race ceremonies.
Gentlemen, would you please rise and remove your caps for our invocation by Reverend Joe Ellison of the Essex Village Community Church.
Let us pray. Eternal Father, we thank you tonight. We stand in amazement. We thank you for allowing us in Richmond to celebrate 50 years of racing. Thank you for the vision that you placed on the heart of Paul Sawyer. We thank you for all the governmental and leaders here tonight, officials. We thank you, Lord, that you bless our drivers and protect them. Lord, we thank you for our troops. We remember our president tonight. And Lord, tonight we thank you for a special prayer for the family of Jerry Nadeau. In Jesus' name, amen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for our national anthem. Here's Nashville recording artist Christy Lee.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glares, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Miss Christy Lee, and ladies and gentlemen, our flyover of F-16s from the Virginia Air National Guard, led by Lieutenant Colonel Bobby Sanford, accompanied by Colonel Steve Hicks, Major Mark McCauley, and Major Keith Ward. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the most famous words in motorsports, once again, here's our Grand Marshal, General John Keane.
Gentlemen,
Start your engines.
NASCAR stars in their cars under the lights, ready to go racing in Richmond. It's right around the corner here on FX. 400 laps, 300 miles. Nice to have you with us. We'll be back in a moment.
NASCAR on FX is brought to you by Pontiac, fuel for the soul. By Napa Auto Parts. By Briggs & Stratton, the power that works for you. And by Johnsonville Bratwurst.
NASCAR on FX welcomes you to the Pontiac Excitement 400 at Richmond International Raceway. For 50 years, they've been racing here in Virginia's capital city, first on a half-mile dirt track, then a half-mile paved, and now this beautiful 3/4 mile short track of a super speedway where the track is wide, but in the corners the racing groove is narrow. And last night's Busch Series race produced a record 14 caution flags, all caused by contact. Budweiser, official beer of NASCAR, proud sponsor of the Bud Cole Award, given to the fastest qualifier at each Winston Cup race. Terry Labonte is our Bud Pole winner since '79. Anheuser-Busch has awarded more than $8 million as title sponsor of the Pole Award program. Tonight's STP starting grid looks like this. Terry Labonte will share the front row with Joe Nemechek, his first front four start here. 4 Chevys at the front of this field.
Yeah, this is the little track that thinks it could.
And does.
Could be a super speedway because it's got that kind of speed, 150 mile an hour into turn 1.
I look back through the top 20.
See Jeff Burke right there in the 99 car. He was fastest in both race practices last night.
Bunch of Dodges, veterans, and one of the hometown heroes, Ricky Rudd, in that pack. And the cars highlighted in yellow are the provisional starters.
Again, like so many times, weather is going to be a factor. We got rain coming in, and these guys practiced yesterday. It was 85 degrees. Now it's about 50 degrees. Got to watch that right front tire, Larry, and blow it out here real easy.
I mean, the speeds are going to be much greater tonight. A lot more grip with this cooler track temperatures. And there was a lot of scrambling going on this morning in the garage area. Crew chiefs making adjustments to their car based on that, and then putting things in that race car that they knew they was going to have to adjust as this race goes on.
Welcome to Richmond. A hurry-up start due to weather. Mike Joy with Larry McReynolds and Darrell Waltrip. And Darrell, the big problem last night was that big funnel from the wide front straightaway down into the groove in turn 1.
That's just it. This welcomes that kind of accident. You got a lot of room going down the front straightaway. You can drop right to the bottom, and you go all the way to the corner. You think, I got it made. But when you get there, the guy on the outside swings down in front of you, chops your nose off, cause a big wreck. Thing I'm going to be watching, though, is the pole sitter. Last week, Steve Park never led a lap. Last night, Michael Waltrip on the pole, didn't lead a lap. Who gets to that slick first turn first?
Good question.
The pole sitter.
Have a look at some of last night's action here. There's turn 1, and it was Calamity Corner.
I mean, you got this racetrack, it's about 75 foot wide, but like you said, Mike, it's like a funnel. And the biggest thing, this is what happened in this track right here. We had 14 cautions last night. Is you get caught up in someone else's problem. It's like a chain reaction. So yeah, you race the racetrack, but there's certainly more to it than just racing the racetrack. You have to be on your toes.
Larry, there is so much traffic as you look at turn 1 that you can't just race the racetrack. How do you keep that car in one piece and keep from overrunning the car and using it all up?
Well, I mean, obviously your spotter is very important here. He's going to be one of your best friends. But it's one of those deals, Mike, where you have to use that patience, but you also have to be aware of what's going on with you, what's going around you. I mean, there's a lot of times you'll hear that spotter say, watch that group in front of you. They're starting beating and banging on each other. You have to be aware of things like that.
Well, it's a funnel, all right, and it gets stopped up sometimes. And when it does, buddy, you got trouble.
Weather. Yes, we'll have some tonight. There's a big band of showers coming from due west over by Roanoke.
I mean, just look at this air temperature right here. That's about 20 degrees cooler than it was last night. Along with that track temperature, the speeds are going to be much greater in this race than they were in any of the practices yesterday.
1 to go. From 1st to 36th, the final qualifier on time. 0.3 of a second.
And we never say never, but there's the pit window right there. That would be for fuel and for tires. Most of the strategy, when you do come to pit road, you're going to get 4 tires at this short track.
When did you quit saying never?
You taught me that. I've worked with you long enough now.
Cars that went to the back for the start of this race. Bill Elliott, engine change. He'll start 42nd. Driver change and backup car for the 01 Jerry Nadeau's car, which will be driven tonight by Jason Keller.
And I'm thinking Jason Keller doesn't think that's really a bad thing to be at the back in a car that he's not all that familiar with, and it'll give him time to get into a rhythm here and get going.
All right, DW, short track race. Let's go reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time, buddy.
It's Saturday night, folks, under the lights. It don't get much better than this. Boogity, 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 boys, let's go racing.
Drag race down to turn 1. Joe Nemechek's up there in the high groove. That high groove came in last night. Still side by side down the backstretch.
Darrell, they don't look like they worked this out beforehand between the two of them, do they?
No, we were talking down in the hotel and Terry was in the first lap, and I said, well, he got his teammate there. I think he would be able to, but he didn't.
So Nemechek will lead the first lap.
And as you said, Larry, that outside groove last night was pretty good, especially off of 2 over there. And you can see Nemechek gets a good shot out there and takes the lead.
Boy, his car really flew through the middle of 1 and 2, and he's able to get back to the throttle much quicker than Terry Labonte.
5th time in Nemechek's career he has led a Winston Cup race on a short track.
Terry's not done, though. He's coming back.
Almost looked like Joe overdrove turn 3 and 4, washed way up the racetrack that time.
He's not giving anything to his teammate as the Hendrick cars run 1, 2, 3. Jeff Gordon 3rd behind Nemechek and Terry Labonte.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon made his run up there to 3rd. Remember, he started back in 6th. He did it on the high groove. Nemechek washes way up the racetrack again.
Terry Labonte leads the lap.
It's real easy to run into the 3rd turn too hard and get back in the gas a little too quick. And the grip's just not as good up high in 3 and 4 as it is down there off of turn 2 right now.
Right now, Joe Nemechek looks much better than 1 and 2, but Terry Labonte looks a little better than 3 and 4. He didn't wash up the racetrack that time, but boy, Kyle Petty in the 45 did.
Boy,
way
so
up the track.
So did Rusty right behind him.
And so did Jamie
Oh,
McCurry.
man, and the 31 car was all crossed up.
Something that starts at the front of the pack can carry all the way to the back.
The chain reaction.
But right now you're on low air pressure. I know we say that a lot, but you're on low air. It's going to take about 5 or 6 laps for these cars to get comfortable. If they're going to get comfortable.
4th is Earnhardt Jr. 5th is Bobby Labonte. 6th, Ryan Newman. 7th is Kurt Busch. His car mostly yellow, a new paint job. Battle for 3rd. Side by side, Junior inside Gordon.
I'll tell you, I talked to Robbie Loomis, crew chief for Jeff Gordon, the 24 car. They were not that happy with their car yesterday, a lot like Greg Zipadelli and Tony Stewart made a lot of changes to that car today.
And Kurt Busch very loose off turn 2, almost lost it. Hung on, gave up the spot to Ryan Newman, and now may give one to Jimmy Johnson on the outside.
I think it's just going to take a few laps. You've got to remember, they've had trucks, cars, parade laps, a lot of dirt and dust on the racetrack right now. The grip will get better.
Johnson and Busch got together, and that let through Casey Mears in the 41.
And I'm going to tell you what, that was a great qualifying run for Casey Mears last night. Qualified 11th. Now he's going to be up there running in about the 7th position.
Riding with Kenny Wallace behind Tony Stewart. That's 10th and 11th place.
And you hear the throttle in Kenny's car. You see how gingerly he gets it. Hardly gets it wide open just for just a spurt on the straightaway.
Kenny was good in practice last night. 18 Winston Cup starts here. Never had a top 10 finish. Look at the brake right here, Darrell. That shows you when he's on the brake. And there you see he's almost all the way on the straightaway before he's wide open throttle.
Use quite a bit of brake here, as we've said before. The thing that you do here is you're on the brakes so long. You run 150 mile an hour, you've got to about ride that car down as you go into the corner.
Joe Nemechek pulling away. Last lap, a 22 flat. That was matched only by Labonte and Kurt Busch. As he edges away from his Hendrick teammate Terry Labonte, Earnhardt Jr. third, Jeff Gordon fourth, and Ryan Newman. Laps complete, cost him 3. Maybe it's a problem on Robbie Gordon. He has slipped to 43rd.
He's losing really badly.
Joe Nemechek, the leader. Robbie Gordon skating around the track has gone a lap down. Dale Jr.'s moved to second. Pole sitter Terry Labonte third. Jeff Gordon fourth. Ryan Newman, Bobby Labonte, rookie Casey Meir. We've got a new toy. Raytheon developed this. It's a thermal cam, and it shows you the heat signature of the racetrack. You see the leader coming around, the people up here in the grandstand. This is the unused part of the racetrack in blue. Green is warmer, and that white or orangish, whitish area around here, that is the groove.
And that'll widen out. Right now it's pretty narrow right now, but that's going to widen out as the night goes on. As you can see, I mean, it's right in here. I'm right on top of it. It's right in there. As we go along tonight, that'll probably get on up into where the green area is and get much quieter, because the cars will start to slide around a little bit more, move around a little bit more.
Robbie Gordon's on pit road to no surprise once he went a lap down. Steve?
Mike, we just heard on the radio they're going to make a big track bar adjustment and put a spring rubber in the right rear.
What that tells me, they're putting a spring rubber in that right rear, Darrell. That must mean that car is pushing and tight. But, you know, as far off as he was, it makes you wonder something's broke on this race car.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't show tight. He was turning that thing sideways. I think what they're trying to do is prop the right rear up.
A little earlier, while Robbie was fighting in traffic, look at those hands.
That's definitely loose.
I mean, that's spun out loose right there.
Steve?
Yeah, Mike, I just want to correct. I said spring rubber in the right. They actually put it in the left rear. Left rear of the 31.
There you go, Steve Burns. There you go, buddy. Now that shows us they're definitely, and the hands told the tale that they're trying to tighten that race car up.
Well, you put a lot of spring split in the thing so they'll turn. You want them to turn, but I think they overdid it.
Third place, Ryan Newman under Jeff Gordon for the third time. There you saw him go by. He's trying to make it work down into one. Makes the pass.
Now, y'all can have the heat things on the track. I think that's really cool. But my favorite shot is the one we got with Kevin Harvick. There you go. Look at this. Look at, watch his eyes. Watch up in here. There's his eyes. He looks back, watch his hands. You can see his legs down here moving. I mean, this is a busy cat right now. He's back in 26. He's back in 26th spot. But he's got a car. You can see him fight that thing off the corner there. So watch his hands, watch the car. As he goes down in the corner. This is when, even if you don't know someone's there, you feel them. You got to know that person's there. You don't have to look over necessarily, but you got to know they're there.
Boy, his eyes, they constantly go look in that mirror. Even though you have that spotter, I remember a shot we had of Jeff Gordon back at Daytona, a shot similar to this, constantly checking that mirror.
Yeah, and the reason for that, Larry, is if he happens to slip or if he had to get out of the throttle, he wants to be sure nobody's so close that they're going to run into him from the back and spin him out. Because that happens a lot here.
Kurt Busch has passed Jeff Gordon, taken Gordon out of the top 5. Busch's history is that when he has a commemorative paint job or something new on that car, victory lane.
He could run that baby in primer.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he'd do okay.
Our leader, Joe Nemechek, is being caught by Dale Earnhardt Jr. The lead is knocked down to less than half a second.
Yeah, he's about a half to a full tenth of a second a lap quicker right now than Joe Nemechek.
Boy, as Dale Jr., as he turned the corner, that whole team, him as a driver, that whole team. I mean, last year they had good days, bad days, good days, bad days. But this year, man, they're right on every week.
There you see the brake right there. Off the brake pedal, he'll start to pick the throttle up all the way up on that straightaway before it's 100%.
And the thing about that brake light, Mike, Larry, we used to have one on I put one on the dash of my car. I mean, a driver needs a brake light on it so he knows he's got his foot resting on the brake pedal.
Matt Kenseth, our point leader, has been caught by Tony Stewart. That's for 11th, Jimmy Johnson 10th.
Now, I'm not saying that Dale Jr. can see that telemetry we have there. But we used to do that on some of the short tracks, so you wouldn't use too much brake.
Of course, you see Matt Kenseth right there in the 17, Tony Stewart in the 20. That's the 2 winners from here last year.
Now Stewart started 9th but drifted back a bit. Now his car's coming back into play.
Where's my commentary buddy?
Rusty?
Rusty.
18th.
Come on, buddy. I picked you tonight. You told me I wasn't going to let me down.
I mean, you see these guys running off into turn 1. Mike, you mentioned it's like a funnel. And remember, from our telemetry yesterday, this is right at 150, close to 150 miles per hour off into that corner, and they're doing it side by side.
And they're doing it double wide and sometimes 3 wide all the way around this track.
Lap after lap after lap.
And just like we saw last night, Mike, Larry, we'll run here for a while as long as we can stay under green and don't have any cautions. But as soon as we start to have cautions, you get cars lapped down, that's when we have trouble.
And that's fixing it. Boy, here's a gaggle of cars right there. Casey Mears leading in the 41. Well, he's up there at 9th position.
Yeah, he made a good move up to 6th, Larry, in the early laps. And now he's starting to drift back just a bit into the clutches of Stewart and the 48, Jimmy Johnson.
Talk about our leader, though, gaggle of cars. He's fixing to catch a lot of cars to try to put them a lap down, and that's when the plot changes, is when you catch all those cars trying to stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, here we are, 35 laps, already going laps down.
Terry Labonte's led one. Joe Nemechek has led the rest of the way so far in Richmond. Welcome back to Richmond, where this sign says it all. Jerry Nadeau, an army of one, prayers from millions, and that includes all of us.
I'd like to say, Mike, I think that pretty much makes the whole statement right there.
We are 42 laps into this race, and Joe Nemechek is rushing through this field.
He's fixing to put some pretty heavy hitters on that down.
Steve Park. And spinning to miss him, Jamie McMurray.
I think McMurray's okay. I think he just spun to miss him and didn't hit anything. He's going to get going again. Well,
I'm going to tell you what, that was a big break for some heavy-hitting cars. In fact, Jason Keller in Jerry Nadeau's car, he's going to get his lap back. But that was a big break for Dave Blaney, Dale Jarrett, Elliott Sadler, Brett Bodine. Larry Foyt gets his lap back. So a lot of cars that Joe Nemechek had put a lap down, they get their laps back.
And Steve Park, pole winner last week, crashed in turn 2 on the first lap of the race, becomes the first casualty of the Pontiac Excitement 400.
He is back there all by himself. Just got it in there. He got it into turn 1 a little too hot.
Car just came around with him.
We saw that a number of times last night. Same kind of a look.
Watch the left side of your screen, bottom of your screen right there.
Just appears if you overdrive that turn, if you pour it down there a little too hard and get the right side tires up a little bit, that's the result.
Now I would say 45 laps on the board. All the leaders will come to pit road, and they pretty much, the only car stayed out on the racetrack is the pace car. This will be 4 tires in those first adjustments. Everybody's back on the lead lap, of course, except for Steve Park and Robbie Gordon now, but he's 2 laps down. Everybody comes to pit road. Steve Burns.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to go down half a round on the track bar. Joe Nemechek, the chassis adjustment into the right rear, 1.5 turns down on the track bar for 25. 4 tires for both cars to Matt.
And Terry Labonte already in, already coming around to the left side. Crew Chief Jim Long called for an air pressure adjustment in the right rear. Terry was just a little loose. They're going to try to tighten the car up, and he's going to win. It's going to be close. That battle off pit road, Mike Joy, who won?
We're going to have to look at the cameraman. It's that close.
But I'm going to tell you what, that Budweiser crew, Dale Earnhardt Jr., I know they had the problems at Fontana last week. They had a well of a stop that time. But you're right, Mike. It's going to be close on Terry Labonte and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Let's look at it right here. This is the line right here. I give the nod to the cheese car, Terry Labonte, the 5 car.
Junior second and Nemechek third off pit road. Then Ryan Newman, Jeff Burton, who has been moving steadily up through this field from 14.
When you sit on a pole, you run good, your crew performs. Look at them, and they like it.
Terry Labonte cuts the cheese on pit stops.
FX welcomes you back to the Pontiac Excitement 400. This is a Visa Race Break with Jeff Hammond. Chris Myers from the Hollywood Hotel trackside here under the lights. Joe Nemechek has led the most laps, 44, but Terry Labonte, the pole sitter, currently your leader. And Jeff, Dale Earnhardt Jr. with the fastest lap turn so far as we're under our first caution.
Yeah, right now he's moved his way up to second place right now. But one of the other guys that's on the move right now, you got to take a look at Jeff Burton. That 99 car is all the way up to fifth. He's running extremely well, but it's early in the race. This is really going to help a lot of guys make that little fine-tuning adjustment to get themselves maybe up toward the front or keep them going a lap down. As we saw a lot of guys getting ready to lose a lap because this racetrack condition. The track is so cool right now, Chris. I don't think these guys are really getting their cars hooked up the way they want to.
All right, let's check in on Dick Berger is with Kurt Busch, the only repeat winner so far this year. Dick?
He had an uncharacteristically poor pit stop, Chris. He went from 4th to 12th after that round of pit stops. The problem is that there's a hub in the center of each of the 4 wheels. The one on the left rear has got 5 lines in it that are incorrectly marked. So when the tire carrier tried to line the wheel up with the 5 studs, he missed twice. So it took him a bit longer simply to get the wheel on the car. Those incorrect lines are a permanent part of the car tonight. We're going to have a tough time with that every pit stop.
All right, thanks, Dick. Jack, you want to play off that?
Yeah, what goes on right there, folks, is as you look, you can see that tire going around on the right rear. You see that orange line. You kept probably wondering what that's all about. The guys will mark these tires so they know where the stud location is. And when the tire handle comes in right there, that's an indication that from that line down is where there's a hole that will line up with the stud. They try to line up those holes with those marks on the hub, and that's how they do these tire changes so fast. So whenever you've got one of these lines messed up, all of a sudden this guy is kind of searching, and as dark as it's going to be, it's really going to be hard to do. So it's really a tough situation.
All right, Jeff, let's check down with Steve Burns. This has been a Visa Race Break, and Steve is with a special guest. Steve?
General John Keane, we're honored by your presence. What brings you to the Richmond International Raceway this evening?
Well, first of all, I'm the Grand Marshal here, but really I'm a NASCAR fan, and the Army's also sponsoring a car here tonight. So that's why I'm here. And also Jerry Nadeau, who got hurt last night. Obviously, he's in our thoughts and our prayers. He's our driver.
And thank you for defending our freedom, General. We appreciate everything the armed services do for us.
Well, we got great troops, and they're so proud to be Americans and so proud to protect the American people.
All right, thank you, Steve. And at the drivers' meeting, General Keane did talk to the drivers and say, hey, Jerry Nadeau represents what we see in a lot of you and in our country, people that fight through things and work hard. And we're hoping for his recovery and proud of Nadeau and what the drivers do here. All right, let's go back upstairs, rejoin Darrell Waltrip, Blair McReynolds, and Mike Joy.
Time for our not-so-secret number in the Fox FX Be a Grand Marshal per Day contest. Log on to foxsports.com or NASCAR.com and enter for your chance to win. The winner will start the race riding the pace car, do 20 push-ups under the supervision of a member of the U.S. Armed Forces, and wave the checkered flag at Rockingham in 2004. Log on, watch and win.
I'd have a lot of trouble working in the pits because I never was very good at staying in the lines.
Now, this is interesting, Larry. We're going to have a look at something that the pit crews can use in the pits to practice on.
All right, they was talking about, this is the hub that Dick Bergman was talking about. And see these lines right here? If you notice, they line up with the lug studs, and that's how they know to put that wheel up there. And you know, Darrell, 10 years ago, you could get by with misaligning that wheel. It wouldn't cost you on pit road. Kurt Busch cost him all those positions. That just shows you how much every crew has their I's dotted and T's crossed.
Yeah, well, the training. I mean, these guys are, you know, they're training. They're always out there practicing, and that's how they do it. And if you mess it up, then they can't do it.
Race car's off. Robbie Gordon up there, he got 1 lap back. He's still 3 down.
Man.
And he almost got into the side of Earnhardt Jr.
Well, what happened there was he came up through the field there on the inside of the racetrack, picked up a lot of debris on his tires, didn't have time to clean them up, and he just about spun that thing out on the restart.
Darrell, you don't expect to have to make a sharp swerve to the right coming to the restart.
Well, you don't expect it, but here you better be prepared for just about anything.
Now, the problem with a single file restart, and here we see Ryan Newman, the 12 car, Jeff Burton in the 99. This is a battle for 4th. Is with a single file restart here early in the race when Terry Labonte took the green flag. The back end of the field was already a half a lap down. Boy, Jimmy Spencer in the 7th car, he won his way up the racetrack down in turn 2 that time.
Yeah, if you get up over there, there's just a ridge down there. I went over, as we were riding around earlier in the race, I looked at the racetrack, and it just is a flat spot over there. And you can see if you hit it with your race car, it will just unload on you and just about spin out.
Terry Labonte has been to the Fountain of Youth. He has now led in 3 of the last 4 races.
Still there.
Junior wants by the lapped car of Robbie Gordon.
Inside corner.
Well, Robbie's doing everything.
All
He's trying
clear.
to stay in touch. He's obviously got his car a little bit better. He's trying to stay in touch with the leader. So if the caution should fly right now, he'd have a shot at getting another lap back. And I know there's fans at home saying, why is he doing that? But that's your job. You got to do it.
All clear. Nice job, buddy.
Nemechek clears Robbie Gordon. Now Ryan Newman gets underneath and gets by.
Well, if there was a place that Ryan Newman shined last year, there was a lot of racetracks he shined at, but finished 2nd in both races here last year.
Johnny Andretti got into Sterling Marlin, just casual contact. Steve Burns.
Hey, Mike, just to update Ryan Newman on that pit stop, they took 1 round out of the left rear, but the crew noticed there was a lot of brake dust on the wheels when they changed the tires, so they told him to go easy on the brakes.
Well, and you know, Steve, we were talking about that earlier. You enter these corners so fast, and like Darrell said, you stay on the brake a long time. You know, you think Martinsville's the toughest place on the brakes, but here you stay on them so long. I think this is actually one of the tougher racetracks on the brakes.
Yeah, one of the keys, one of the things you want to watch for tonight, folks, at home, is that glow. That when you start seeing that glow in the center of the wheel, we've been talking about those lines in the hub and all. Watching the center of the wheel, when you see that start to glow red, that driver is going to get himself in trouble. He's going to have brake problems. He can even cause a tire to fail.
Here's Rusty Wallace in 12th, working on Jimmy Johnson.
Well, you know, Rusty was up here with us last night, and he was talking about the second groove, that he felt like it would come in really nice after the Busch race last night. I think it is better, but I still don't think it's what these guys need to be able to do too wide racing.
And from Kenny Wallace. A couple guys here think the magic number tonight is 46. That's the age of Rusty Wallace and Terry Labonte.
Wow.
I mean, look at this shot right here. I mean, this gives you the perspective of just how close these guys race with each other. And this is right up at the left side window on the Kenny Wallace car, the Stacker 2 car.
That camera may be in harm's way before the evening.
And you see who's coming right there. Mongo is coming. Jimmy Spencer in the 7th.
We once in a modified race put a camera on the front bumper of Jimmy Spencer's car. That was expectable.
Darrell, we can see the rotor blowing on the right front. We got around on the front stretch. Caution is out.
And Sprague and Bodine.
Well, that happened right under us here. I'm not sure exactly. Boy, there goes Robbie Gordon. He just not close enough.
Jack Sprague and Brett Bodine get together on the front straightaway.
I think Sprague just spun. I think he got up here on against close to the outside retaining wall and just spun it around. And Brett did everything he could to keep him hitting him. Did a good job. Obviously, there's no hard feelings there.
Does Brett have some left front damage there? Maybe not. Maybe he didn't hit anything.
I don't think there was any contact between the two of them. Yeah, Kyle Petty. I knew Brett was kind of like a victim of circumstances.
He tried to turn low to go underneath. He saw Jack Sprague going up the racetrack, but he turned down and just looped around with him.
The guy on the bottom here, of course, now there's where you get your left front damage. He got in the back of Kyle, the 11 car did. But what happens here is your car is tight. And as it pushes off at turn 4, the track opens up, and it'll all of a sudden just break loose the front tire wheel and almost hit the wall. You got to jump out of the throttle, and sometimes you get hit from behind.
Now watch the 19, Jeremy Mayfield, in all this. He is the luckiest guy in that red car on the right. He stops just shy of Brett Bodine. Oh, it was 14. Yeah. Never mind. Just waved the green flag for the restart. Terry Labonte takes off. He's got Robbie Gordon right with him, trying to get a lap back. Then Dale Earnhardt Jr., Joe Nemechek, Ryan Newman, Jeff Burton, Bobby Labonte, and Tony Stewart.
See, but that 31 car, Robbie Gordon, that's a really good example of how sorry a car could be. It couldn't have been any worse. They made a pit stop. They put that spring rubber in there, adjusted on a little bit. Now he's capable of keeping up.
Yeah, I mean, he's been running in the second place position on the racetrack now for about 20 laps.
Brett Bodine and Jack Sprague each went a lap down with that spin. Larry Foyt also one down, and Gordon trying to come back from 3 laps down.
Well, we saw Matt Kenseth do it.
He's going to go by Terry Labonte, so that puts him 2 laps down. What he needs is another caution real quick. Because I tell you who's really coming. Joe Nemechek in that 25 car. He's working the bottom of this racetrack.
Nemechek coming for second, and Kurt Busch inside Tony Stewart moves up a notch.
And you know, if you're Terry Labonte, you're the veteran, you're a pretty smart guy. Robbie Gordon on your back bumper may not be the most favorite thing you'd like to see in your rearview mirror. He's desperate to get back on the lead lap. Maybe I'll just let that cat go on.
Steve Burns behind the wall with Steve Park.
Steve, what happened, and can you get this race car back on the track?
We cut a left rear tire down and got the Penzo Chevrolet turned around and got loose in the flag stand, and right now it looks like it broke the motor mount out of the motor, so we're not sure if we can get it back in again, and just a shame. I mean, we're just looking for a little bit of a break. We just can't seem to get it. It's just very frustrating, but you know, our thoughts and prayers with Jerry Nadeau right now and his family and Jada, and I just want to tell my mom I'm okay, because it was a scary looking incident. It looked very familiar to what Jerry went through and stuff, but I'm okay. And again, from all race team, all the Steve Park race fans, I myself are thinking about Jerry and Jada right now. So what else can you say? We just need to get a little bit of luck on this Penzo team, get things turned around. We have fast race cars. We just, for some reason, just can't get to the end of the race.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, guys, and we certainly hope Steve Park can get back in the race, but Rusty Wallace told us he had him a hot rod. He started 17th. He just went by Jeff Gordon in the 24 car for 10th. But how about his teammate, Ryan Newman? He's up there battling Terry Labonte for the lead. He's going to take the lead, Darrell.
Yeah, just to pick up real quick on what Steve was saying. Here's the guy that wrecked his car. He's in the garage. He's out of the race. What's he thinking about? It just tells you a lot about the people in our sport.
You're right, Darrell. Same thing we're all thinking about, Jerry Nadeau and his family. 74 laps complete in the Pontiac Excitement 400. Ryan Newman over Terry Labonte. First time a Dodge has led tonight. In fact, first time anything but a Chevrolet has led this evening.
You know, the last time a Dodge won here, Mike?
Oh, gosh. Darrell, were you here?
Neil Bonnet, maybe.
1977.
How about
Neil Bonnet.
Jim Stacy car, wasn't it?
I think you're right. Oh, Harry Hyde probably turning the wrenches on that piece.
And I aired last night on one of Bobby Labonte's poles here. He did win a pole here in the 22 car, but it was for Bill Davis, not for Junior Johnson, who owned that number the year before.
The teammates battling for second place, not a battle for very long. Joe Nemechek goes by Terry Labonte. But their teammate, Jeff Gordon, in that 24 car, he continues to slide backwards. Saw Rusty Wallace go by him just a second ago. That car is not working like he'd like it to work.
For more on Jeff Gordon, here's Matt.
Well, Mike, the 24 car has dropped over the last lap from 11th to 12th. Jeff Gordon, under that last caution, told crew chief Robert Lewis the car is just really, really loose. I cannot drive it on new tires. It is loose everywhere. Robbie told them they're going to try a little wedge at the next stop to try to fix that race car. Steve Burns?
Matt, opposite problem for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He told crew chief Tony Eury Jr. that he had gotten tight. Tony Eury said we put a half a pound in that right front tire on the last stop to keep me from rolling over on that right front tire. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. said it's hurting me. On the next stop, take that air pressure back out.
And, of course, Steve, yeah, I know Tony Eury, he did what he thought was right, keep it from rolling over and getting that soft spring feel push, but that also increases the spring rate over there. When you increase the spring rate on the right front, it makes it push, especially on the entry and in the center.
Now remember, when they set these cars up the last time they were on the racetrack, it was 82 degrees out. Today, the thermometer never reached 70, and it's well below that now, so everything's changed.
And that's what makes me a little puzzled why some of these cars are loose, Darrell. I would have thought that they more would have been like Dale Earnhardt Jr. Most of them would have been tighter, not turning as good.
Well, I think most of these guys set their cars up loose because they know the track will tighten up. It always does. The question is, can I make it to the point to where the track tightens up? That's what happens to you. I list them on the scanner, and they want to free the cars up to start the race, but then the guy can't drive it. By the time they get it fixed, like Robbie Gordon, they're in trouble.
Right in front of this group, Rusty Wallace. This is 9th and 10th. There's Rusty in 8th, right behind Bobby Labonte. Fox tracks in on Rusty, showing the gap behind his teammate, the race leader, Ryan Newman.
And until he caught Terry Labonte, he was actually just a little bit quicker on the stopwatch than his teammate Ryan Newman. But when you catch someone and you have to race them like this, you obviously lose some time. Rusty Wallace making his 600th consecutive Winston Cup start, 21 years without missing a race.
Yeah, he's only got 609 total starts. So those first 9, and then he's been 600 ever since, or on the 600 career starts.
Tell you what, Ryan Newman out there in clean air right now. He's not having to battle Robbie Gordon. He's definitely clicking some pretty quick laps off.
Spotters are saying, however, to NASCAR, there may be a little smoke from Ryan Newman's car.
Fast as it is, I can see why.
Smoking.
That's like we're smoking.
You know, I mean, he's coming off of... There you hear him communicating about the spot. But Ryan Newman, 3 straight DNFs, but it was about this time last year he got his season turned around.
But his car is always so fast. I mean, once he gets his act together, you know, whether it's getting in wrecks or blowing up engine, whatever it is, once he gets his act together, he's like Kurt Busch. Pretty darn hard to beat.
Steve Burns on the leader.
And Mike crew chief Matt Borland just radioed Ryan Newman and said other teams are reporting smoke from the car. Let me know if you hear, smell, see anything. And Ryan did say, I do smell rear end grease. So they're just got their fingers crossed right now.
Well, Steve, the last time that car came off turn 2, we did see a little puff of smoke out of the rear of the car. We'll maybe watch it here again and see if we see the same thing.
And Steve, Nick and you guys in the pit center, if you'll be able to smell it. If it's a gear, you'll start to smell it before too long.
Didn't really see it that last time, but we have been seeing it, just little puffs. And we got a battle right here getting for state. This is for position 6. Jeff Burton in the 99, Rusty in that 2 car.
Yeah, Jeff Burton's backed up a bit. He was moving forward, but right now he's running lap times 0.2 of a second slower than the race leader. So he's fallen back right into view of Rusty Wallace, Ford versus Dodge here.
Yeah, Rusty's car's got that Richmond look to it. He drives it in, it slips up a little bit, and then, buddy, he gasses it up off the corner.
Watch Mark Martin here, Darrell.
Hello. I would like to get by if you don't mind.
Was that a please, may I?
That's kind of like, hey, have you looked in your mirror lately?
Coming through. Excuse me.
Pardon me.
You know, Kevin Harvick's going backwards right now, but we got the report on that last pit stop back on lap 45. I'm not sure about this, Darrell. They changed 2 tires, 2 right side tires only, and I think you'll pay the price now.
Yeah, I don't think I'd have done that. Of course, we say that a lot, and of course, last week Rusty Wallace did. He made it work, but nobody else was able to. Several other teams did the same thing. They said their cars were junk.
Your car has to be right on the money before you can get by with it.
Ryan Newman, who was in 8th place after his Texas win 4 races ago, came into tonight's race 25th in points. There is his Penske Racing South teammate Rusty Wallace, and here's what 4 seconds looks like at Richmond International Raceway.
Well, there went the leader over the line, and here comes Rusty now. So he's
quite a straightaway.
About a half a straightaway, yeah.
92 of 400 laps are complete under the lights at Richmond, Virginia. You're watching NASCAR on FX. Ryan Newman was second in both Richmond races last year, but he's been black flagged for smoke from the rear end of his number 12 Dodge. Steve?
And listening to Ryan Newman on the radio, he says he smells rear end grease. He says he also smells plastic burning. 2 different things inside that race car. Heavy smoke coming from the left rear of the 12 of Ryan Newman.
What he smells burning plastic is his brake ducts and the hoses that go to the brakes and all that cool the rear end.
Yeah, I mean, probably the rear end got so hot that it started melting those hoses and ducts.
Yeah.
And there is Ryan Newman's car, a thermal cam, a lot of heat under the hood, and a lot of white and red back there in the rear end area as well.
And that can be the product of not enough cooling or some maybe problem with the gear, maybe a particular ratio of gear that they're running. I know these guys are running a ton of gear tonight.
Joe Nemechek trying to put Dave Blaney and Ricky Craven a lap down.
Boy, look at Kurt Busch, though, in that 97 car. Here he comes. The longer it goes, the better he gets.
And Kurt Busch in a different color. He's that yellow car on the inside underneath Blaney right now.
Just took the second place position away from Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the Budweiser car.
And a ton of gear means a lot of gear, a low gear, like a 525, 529. They're turning these things well over 9,000. I think that some of these guys even got a light on the dash to tell them when they're exceeding 9,000.
Earlier, Mike Skinner got up and into the wall of turn 2, but no real damage on Skinner's car. Let's show you what happened there. They got 3 wide in turn 2. He's the yellow number 4.
On the outside of Todd Bodine in the 54 car there.
Boy, that was, oh my goodness, that was almost.
It could have been real big.
That really was. Both those guys.
Well, I'm corrected. He got the right, whatever right side damage he got against somebody else. He did not touch the wall.
He saved Todd Bodine from crashing, though.
Yes. 8 wheels corner better than 4. As Kurt Busch chases leader Joe Nemechek in the 25. Here's your singular wireless virtual crew chief question. Vote now from your singular wireless phone by sending text message FOX to phone number 191 or visit foxsports.com to vote online. My vote would be yes, but not at the expense of the weekly short tracks. That's the backbone of NASCAR racing and where all these drivers started. If there's a way to do it, maybe spring and fall when they're not running their summer season.
Yeah, well, but that's the problem. When we need to race at night is in July, August, September, when it is so hot. That's when the drivers, I think, would like to see us race at night, and that would be the right time to do it.
Tell you what, I think Kurt Busch in the 97 car, he is so much quicker than Joe Nemechek right now. He just can't find the right place to catch him. He had him pass down the back straightaway, and they ran up on Kyle Petty in the 45 car. But I'm going to tell you what, it's so much fun to watch Kurt Busch and Jimmy Finn in that group. I mean, 4 starts here. They've never had a top 10 finish. They built a brand new car for Martinsville, came here after Martinsville, tested. They said, we wanted to work on one of our weaker race tracks. This was it. I think they're on their mark right now.
Rain on the way, less than 5 miles away is this rainstorm coming from Roanoke to the west.
Yeah, I just saw a big flash of lightning off of turn 4 there, or else everybody took a picture at one time.
Now we get the report they did take the 12 car, Ryan Newman's car, to the garage. They're going to change the rear and the gear in that car and try to get back out there. But boy, I'm going to tell you, that rock slide of his continues.
Tony Raines in that white 74 had a fine 3rd place run last night in the Hardee's 250. They're leading Todd Bodine and Elliott Sadler. That's for 26th place. And Jeff Burton, who moved up into the top 5, has backslid to 8th. Dick Berggren.
Yeah, he's lost 3 spots, Mike, since the last round of pit stops. He's a little bit over 4 seconds behind the leader at this point. The problem, a lack of rear bite. He gets on the throttle. Instead of the car going forward, the rear tires just buzz a little bit. And that'll hurt you bad here at Richmond. Need a lot of forward bite to go fast here.
Well, if you pull, again, we're talking about gear, and the more gear you put in there, the harder it is to hook those rear tires up. It takes a veteran driver, someone with finesse, that knows how to work that throttle and that gear together. If you don't, you just jump in the throttle, you're going to buzz the rear tires right off of it.
Tony Stewart squeeze play out of turn 2 there. That's a hard place to go 3 wide.
The racetrack's wide enough, the racing groove's not. We're seeing a typical Matt Kenseth type of race there on that 17 car. Long green runs. He just keeps on keeping on.
I saw him earlier down there when they're going to drive introduction. I said, how's your car? And he said, I think we'll be okay. The guy never gets excited, you know. I think we'll be okay.
Matt Kenseth, the point leader. The point system of NASCAR developed by Bob Latford, former NASCAR PR director. Has worked for many of the tracks and for CBS Sports, the Daytona Beach native. Ailing, and we want to wish Bob well. He has been a fixture in this sport for a long, long time.
Yeah, he worked with us at the juniors over at the Budweiser team, and he's really a neat guy. Just say hello to him.
Kenseth is 9th. Jimmy Johnson to his left rear flank, and now right behind in 10th.
But you know, if Kenseth smoked a cigarette and Hair was a little grayer. I swear that's Pearson driving that car.
Jeff Gordon continues to backslide. He's 18th behind rookie Casey Mears.
Well, you know, Larry, I think you told me that is his Martinsville car. Now, I think Robbie Loomis likes a three-quarter drop car at Martinsville, and that's a great setup for there, but I never had good luck with it here. I like the more conventional car here.
Car in the wall, turn 2, Craven.
No caution, though. No caution.
I think I tell you can get up there, slide up there, and just brush it.
He missed it. It wasn't by much.
Yeah,
Darryl.
you get stuck. You get all that debris on your tires. It's slick out of the groove, and then he may have damaged the car. Yeah, he did damage it.
Got a battle for the lead heading off into turn 3. Pretty clear racetrack. No lap cars. Kurt Busch down the bottom of the racetrack in the 97 car.
And Darryl, you're racing the rain here. You've got to go.
Oh yeah. No, there's no time to hold back. If you got, you know, want to be in the lead if the rain comes.
I'm going to tell you what, while these guys are racing side by side for the lead, I'm still impressed with Robbie Gordon in the 31 car, just a few cars in front of them. He's still staying out front of the leaders. But these guys, I mean, they've been side by side for 2 laps.
Boy, see, Nemechek really got that outside working. He can hold Kurt Busch up for a long time, like we saw him do Terry Labonte early in the race.
Looks like these fellas went to school on last night's race, where midway through that second offside groove opened up and was faster for a while.
Nemechek was in last night's race, so he knows what he's doing.
Here's Ricky Craven, 32.
Just up out of the groove, slick up there. You get the debris on your tires. Kisses ever so slightly.
Not too politely.
Not politely, and you don't want to do that all nightly.
And just to show you how bad his race car is right now, I mean, he's running about a second and a half off of the leaders right here. Joe Nemechek in the 25, Kurt Busch in the 97. But while they're running side by side, there's another player trying to join that group, Dale Earnhardt Jr. right there in the Budweiser car. Right behind him, Kurt Busch is going to take the lead.
I think something happened to Robbie Gordon off at once.
No, Craven in the wall again, Darryl. And
now, he damaged that car when he got into it over there. He didn't hit it hard, but he must have damaged the right front.
The leaders are catching him right now, down in 3 and 4.
And I think he'd like to maybe get down on the inside and get in the pit lane, but he couldn't do it that time.
And now that they've lapped him, certainly we'll see Craven on pit road. 121 laps complete. That leaves us 79 to halfway and 278 to go in the Pontiac Excitement 400 at Richmond. From Michael Waltrip looking at Mike Skinner, and they're right in front of the leaders, side by side, bumper to bumper, right behind them. Who's going to prevail here? Joe Nemechek on the outside, but Joe, where are you going to go? There's no room up there.
Those guys are doing their job. They're trying to stay on the lead lap. Now Kurt Busch is going to pull back to the inside down the backstretch. But Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car, he's caught this group. Whoa, Michael Waltrip gets sideways. I think Joe Nemechek said, I've had enough.
Boy, they just bottlenecked everybody up. And that's what happened. Somebody had to get out of the gas bike. Oh, there's a car around on the back, guys. It was, oh, he didn't go around. It was Jack Sprague again. He saved it. Holy cow. You know what's going on, guys? They called him and told him rain is coming. Rain is about here. And these guys, I mean, the pace has picked up incredible.
That kicked Joe Nemechek in the 25 all the way back to 4th position in about a lap and a half with all that went on coming off turn 4.
Yeah, Rusty Wallace got ahead of him for 3rd. Dale Jr. 2nd. Let's show you what you saw from the in-car. Let's show you how that all sorted out.
You could smell this coming.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of those, hey, watch this.
Michael's car just jumped with him. He gets in the side of Mike Skinner. Nowhere for the leaders to go, especially Joe Nemechek.
Hustling the car, trying to stay on the lead lap, and got it sideways.
I think that was more slideways.
That was a big slideways, and here comes Joe back.
3rd place battle as well. Nemechek coming after Rusty Wallace.
I tell you, Joe can get through turns 3 and 4 better than anybody right now. That high groove is really working for him.
And a little bit higher.
That's what I love about short track racing. It's like so many almost. Whoa, there's one. No, there's another. Here's another. No, here.
Don't do that. You step right around looking for it.
I just kidding.
Tell you what, we got quite a
17 car slow on the back.
The point leader, Matt Kenseth.
I think he got up against a wall over there.
Teammate Mark Martin right behind him.
Let's see if we can see anything on the right side here. Yeah, the tires are scrubbed off. The Goodyear is missing.
into the corner, especially off turn 2, but he gets a good bite and runs down the backstretch pretty good. But he's definitely running a higher groove than almost anyone, Darrell.
Well, I thought he hit the wall off of turn 2 over there. I think he did get up against it, but I think all he's doing now is just getting his tires cleaned back up. But he's off and running again.
So Kenseth will hold on to 13th position ahead of his teammates Mark Martin and behind Greg Biffle, who went past into 12th.
A lot of that is just driver recovery. It takes a lap or two for you to decide you didn't hurt it.
Kenny Wallace in the Dodge right behind Mark Martin. Casey Mears is just behind him.
Ken Schrader's the 30th place car, so that means we have 29 cars left on the lead lap here at lap 137.
Schrader was a top 10 car at our last short track race, Martinsville.
And that is the race car that he had that top 10 finish with.
This is not a good place to bring a Martinsville car.
It's not Martinsville, is it?
First time Kurt Busch has led at Richmond in his 5th start. Jimmy Spencer has pounded the wall at turn 3. He climbs out okay, and it puts us under the 3rd caution of the night at lap 141.
And I mean, he's mad about 2 things. One, he tore a race car up. He had a great race car. He was running 6 after starting 25th.
He comes in view here in a second, and buddy, when he does, out.
That has all the sign. The right front tire went soft, went flat on him. Just car went straight into the wall. But he did have a great race car.
Didn't appear to be anybody else involved picking up pieces.
And see, that's a classic example of he hit that wall hard. I mean, he hit it pounded that wall. He gets out and he's okay. That's what we expect every time one of these cars hits a wall. We expect the driver to get out and be mad, throw his helmet, throw his Hans device or whatever, and walk away.
If you notice what they did, Jimmy gets in the safety vehicle right there, and there you see them picking his car up. But Jimmy had hung his helmet up in the race car, but you saw an official bring the helmet and the head and neck restraint device. Now when you go to the infield care center, they take all of this equipment with you where they can analyze it and look at it.
Yeah, they won't let you in the care center without your helmet.
Really?
But you got to go to the care center.
Wow.
The pit road is closed, but Mark Martin comes to pit road, and there's probably the reason they're going under the hood. He has a problem with that race car.
Track the pins now, guys. We got to put it back in.
Now watch on the thermal cam, you'll see Jimmy Spencer come at the top of the frame from the right.
You see the heat on the wall actually from the car beating and banging along it. Darrell, that orange stripe, she's getting wider and wider as this race goes on, just like you said. Now pit road is open, and trust me, all the leaders will be on the pit road because we were only about 20 laps away from green flag stops. So we'll have about 29 cars on the pit road, 4 tires, adjustments full of fuel.
Ricky Craven is also on pit road with the hood up. Steve.
Yeah, he's fixing tow.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. will get a half a pound of air back in the right front tire, just like the pressures they started the race on. Bill Dry changing the front tires. Jay Gardneri on the rear to Dick Berggren.
Kurt Busch is going to take 4 tires on his car. He is pretty happy with the car, so it is a bit free leaving the corners. The big question here is how long will it take to get that left rear wheel on the car? To Matt.
Dick, they've already made a wedge adjustment on Terry Labonte's Chevrolet. He said the car was still a little free. He's going to win the race off pit road.
Boy, not by much, Rusty Wallace.
Man, you can hear his crew. Hear his crew over the top of all those engines. They were celebrating.
But I want to tell you, Rusty and those guys had a great crew. But the reason I think Bobby Labonte really had a great stop as well is where his pit selection. He's right there near the exit of pit road.
And trouble again on Kurt Busch's stop. Bobby Labonte's crew does a good job, gets him out.
Oh, yeah, it's a good feeling. But he only had to move about 2 pits. They had a great stop, but he didn't have to move far to win that race. We'll see the race off right there. There's Bobby Labonte. Bye, boy. That was close.
A bunch.
145 laps complete at Richmond. This is NASCAR on FX. Vortex theory. When the cars are running around under green, they create a heat vortex, and it doesn't rain. The caution comes out. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Well, you put the sensor, the heat sensor, back up here and see how hot the track is right now.
Oh, the surface is fine. It's
no. Look how much cooler. Look how light that is. We've lost the vortex. We've lost the heat. How can you argue with it? It wasn't raining before we went to caution, was it?
Right. I stand by my theory. Jimmy Spencer checked and released at the infield care center. Big gainer on caution. Ward Burton was 9th before the yellow came out 5th.
And I think I say this with a lot of confidence. They changed 4 tires. I think everybody changed 4 tires that time. But boy, there's the guy that was a real loser on pit road, Dick Berger. What went on with that pit stop? Lots of troubles there.
Well, the left rear was just fine, Larry. There was no problem at all with that. They did a great job indexing that wheel, got it right on, despite the fact that you clearly see that the lines aren't properly located. This time the problem was on the right front. The lug nut dropped, and Busch went from 1st to 8th.
Now, guys, maybe it's night racing. I don't know. But I have not seen those lines on the tires before. Now, have I just been missing that?
I have to be honest. I have never seen them on the tires. We've always done the hubs.
On the hubs.
But I've never seen it on the tires.
This deal about on the tires is a whole new deal for me. I've not heard of that.
One other thing you don't see on the tires, and that is tread across them. They can't run in the rain. Jeff.
Guys, the lines have been there for quite a while. A lot of the pit crews right now have learned the best way to help that tire carrier out is by doing that. And that's something, like I say, it's been going on really for the last 2 years. A lot of teams have really done it. It's gotten more prominent, I think, you know, with the fact we're running on the lights tonight. The orange tape, I think, sticks out.
They may have been putting a line on the wheel or on the tire somewhere but that tape deal, I've never seen that.
Steve?
Jimmy Spencer out of the infield care center. Jimmy, what happened, and are you okay?
I don't know what happened. You know, our car was really, really good, and Tommy was going to make a couple more adjustments before the night was over. I tell you, he fixed that thing from happy hour to there. I got the best crew chief, best team here going. We made a lot of mistakes lately. My car owner's behind us. I got the best car in the garage area. The serious team is serious. We will be back. Don't know what the heck happened. Ain't worried about it. We'll get him in Charlotte.
Let's show you what happened to Jimmy Spencer. His crew chief, as he gets into the wall here, his crew chief Tommy Baldwin led, I think, the first 75 laps of this race last year with Ward Burton.
I think what he's trying to say is that dog's going to bite somebody.
And it had all the look of it tonight.
It did.
Something broke on Jimmy Spencer's car to put us under the 3rd caution of the evening in Richmond.
FX welcomes you back to Richmond, and this is a Visa race break. We're under caution, a little bit of rain in the area. Bobby Labonte leading. We've gone through 152 laps. Rusty Well is right behind him, followed by Joe Nemechek and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Moments ago, we heard from Jimmy Spencer. We saw the, he's thought of as a tough, burly kind of driver. Mr. Excitement of the Pontiac Excitement 400. Jimmy Spencer never forgets, but has time to remember people that are less fortunate. And we'll talk about that in a moment. Let's talk about Jimmy Spencer over the years, a driver who has gained a lot of popularity, a veteran guy who's always entertaining to watch.
Well, he's one of those guys that kind of came out of the Northeast, and he really has run well, but at the same time, you know, he's always been kind of perceived as a rough and tough and always beating and banging his way to the front. And a lot of times people kind of misunderstand Jimmy. I mean, he does have a very softer side to him. He's very personable when you get him away from the racetrack, when he's around other folks and everything. So I think Jimmy right now is really trying to work on his people skills and try to get things where people understand that, hey, I'm not necessarily a bad guy, but he is a tough race car driver.
And an emotional and passionate guy, and somebody who cares about his profession and takes the time to help out other people, as we mentioned, for the past decade, actually over past 10 years, twice a year. Jimmy comes to Richmond not only to race, but to have breakfast with his good friend, 14-year-old Sammy Anderson, at a McDonald's from across the racetrack. Sammy was diagnosed with a degenerative bone disease at a very young age. Doctors gave him a very short time to live. But since meeting Jimmy at the age of 4, he seems to have had maybe another reason or so to live or to fight on. And Jimmy's generosity has gone further than just breakfast. He sent the family to Disney World twice and has kept in constant contact with Sammy, and of course part of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and a nicer side of Jimmy Spencer away from the track that certainly is appreciated. Just about 2 to go, so hopefully with this rain, if it doesn't disturb the track enough,
Right.
We might see them go back. We're what, 154 laps in, and you see a little bit of the rain and the lights here.
Yeah.
What should we expect, and how? Talk about the mentality of racing the rain. Once you get halfway, 200 laps, at least the race is official if it needed to be called.
Yeah, now right now that's what a lot of these guys are trying to do, and unfortunately for Bobby Labonte, I mean, he really got off pit road well and got an opportunity right now. He's leading the race, and track position is so important that this could be exactly what he's looking for. They get ready to go back to green. It should be real interesting, and one of the guys right now that's been kind of struggling is old Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, and let's check in with Matt. He's from Robbie Loomis. Matt?
Jeff Gordon all the way back in 16th. Robbie Loomis, what's wrong with the race car tonight?
Hey, the DuPont Chevrolet's been extremely loose, and we think we got to tighten up a little bit better right there. We're working on getting the rubber out of the right rear. Jeff said we just get a little drive off and it'll be real good. I'd like to ask everyone to pray for Jerry Nadeau and Jay to say hello to her. And our thoughts with this.
All right, thanks very much. And certainly Jeff Gordon, who won at Martinsville before he went to California, hoping to stay in the points race. You're watching a Visa race break, and let's take a quick look back at how things went on lap 44. Steve Park, second week in a row, all alone here, spins out.
Yeah, loses right there one, and up against the wall he goes, and he's out of the race, first car out today.
And then we had 14 cautions, the track record yesterday in the Busch Series. Another caution here. Jack Sprague gets bumped by Kyle Petty. Bodine also involved.
Yeah, both those guys that went around were able to continue on lap number 99. Our current leader at the time, Ryan Newman, loses the rear gear, forced to go behind the wall, make the pairs.
Anytime you have a rear end problem, could be embarrassing. All right, and then a lead change here. Kurt Busch passing Joe Nemechek, one of the Roush racers.
Yeah, he's been making his march to the front right there, showing himself to be very, very strong as he takes the lead from Joe Nemechek.
And the frustration, we talked about Jimmy Spencer, a soft inside. He was maybe wishing for a softer wall. Now, Larry McReynolds speculated maybe a tire problem there.
Yeah, just look by the way the sparks were. You see how disgusted Jimmy was right there. He knew he had a good race car, but the right front goes down, and you can't make the car turn. Up into the wall you go, and right here you're looking at Kurt Busch. They had trouble on the right front right there, and it cost him. He was running really good. He came out back in 8th place.
And Labonte, your leader. Let's go back upstairs, rejoin Darrell Waltrip, Larry McReynolds, and Mike Joy.
That leader will be Bobby Labonte. He and Rusty Wallace. We saw what happened to the top 5 as they came in. Earnhardt Jr. back to 4th, Kurt Busch to 8th.
Yeah, I mean, right there, I mean, Bobby Labonte's group had a great pit stop, but pit selection had a lot to do with it. We're going back green here on lap 157.
Could be a little treacherous here with that bit of rain, and the track's a little slick already.
Tiptoes into turn 1. You're watching from Michael Waltrip's front bumper.
Well, we've already seen Michael get kind of crossed up in front of these guys. He needs to take it kind of easy here.
Yeah, of course, he was up there trying to get his lap back, but Darrell, he's already lost position to Rusty Wallace, and there's more coming.
Oh, Nemechek got bumped by Dale Jr. No harm, no foul. Just everything squares up going into 1.
Well, what happens, Mike, is you nail the throttle, and all of a sudden the car pushes or maybe gets a little loose. You got to squeeze up a little bit, and the guy behind you gets into you.
Not much margin for error here, Darrell.
No,
short track, but gosh.
You see how close together you run, and you're going really fast. You can't just stop. Well, you can if somebody's in front of you, but... Oh, there you go. There's a 19 car.
Jeremy Mayfield.
Don't know that he hit anything, but he sure got way out of the groove.
But boy, we have seen that so many times, especially right over in turn 2.
There's just a spot over there that you do not want to get in.
I mean, look at him stacking up behind him down in 3 and 4.
He was going to try to turn down pit lane and realized that wasn't a good idea.
We're getting a report that he probably has a tire down.
You better be sure, because when you get up out of the groove like that, you pick up a lot of debris. We saw there on the caution.
Bobby Labonte, the leader. Rusty Wallace, second. Joe Nemechek, third. Here's the curtain.
Rusty Wallace hasn't won in 2 years, but he has won here in Richmond 6 times. Right now, he's running in second spot. He has just heard from his crew chief, Billy Wilburn, who has told him that there is rain coming. Go to the front. They want Rusty to be leading. Matt.
Well, Big Tony Stewart has a lot of work to do if he's going to get his 4th Richmond victory. He has now climbed to 19th. On that last stop, he was complaining about the car being tight in the center and extremely loose up off. They pulled 2 spring rubbers out of the right rear, made a half a round down on the track bar, and also shuffled the air pressure. He actually even worked on the brake bias so much that the car had started to get the brakes extremely hot. But Stewart now is starting to make a little bit of a move. But remember back to last year when he won here, he was not very good in the first 3 quarters of the race.
Terry Labonte, the 5 on the outside. Backing up a bit, Bill Elliott's going to go by him on the inside. And here comes Rusty.
And you know, it just takes some of these cars a lap or two to get going. The air is so low. If you get below, I think Rusty told me 14 pounds, the car was just almost undrivable.
I tell you what, looking out of Rusty Wallace and Joe Nemechek in the 25, I think somebody told Joe, hey, it's only 36 laps to halfway, because he just set the fastest lap that this race has seen, that lap right there.
Terry Labonte just went to the tail end of the pack. Slow up there on the outside.
It just looks like some of these crews made some adjustments on that caution, that last one, and they went the wrong way.
And Dave Blaney got high up in turn 2, and he went back about 9 positions.
And what's happening, Mike, they get up out of the groove. They get up high down here in 2, and they start complaining about a flat tire, but that's not the problem. They're just picking up all that debris. It takes them a lap or 2 to get it burnt back off.
A big knot of cars from Kurt Busch on back. Casey Mears and Matt Kenseth trying to punch through traffic there. They're 2 and 3 wide. This has all the makings of something exciting right here.
Tell you what, though, looking at Casey Mears in that 41 car, he showed that good qualifying run was not a fluke, because, I mean, he's still up there running in the top 10 and 9th position.
And the reason for this log jam, Michael Waltrip is a bit slow getting off 2 on the outside, and they stack up right there. Michael's doing all he can.
Yeah, I think
they're packing up behind him.
I think he'd like to get out of the way, but he can't.
There is no out of the way.
No, not right now. You get run over if you do. You get run over if you don't.
Greg Biffle on the move. He's the 2nd rookie in this race. He's 11th to Casey Mears' 9th place. He's had a good evening. Biffle in 11th, and Kenny Wallace coming right in behind him.
Wallace, Kenny's car was really good at happy hour, and he's had a pretty good car this weekend.
I mean, he really has. I mean, he qualified in 14th position, and this is a team that definitely needs a good run. But, you know, Kenny's won 3 Busch races here, but 18 Winston Cup starts, not a single top 10 finish.
Jeff Green battling Kenny Wallace, 12th place.
But I tell you, you're right, Mike. I believe Greg Biffle is a car that's definitely on the move in that 16 car. Riding with Robbie Gordon right here. He's back in the 37th position. Remember, he's 3 laps down.
The Roush Fords right now are 5th, 8th, 10th, 11th, and Mark Martin 23rd. Up front, Bobby Labonte, just 4/10 up on Joe Nemechek. Rusty Wallace, 1.1 seconds back. Dale Jr., 1.3 behind.
Matt Kenseth right here. He's in the 10th position. I guarantee you, if anybody's looking for long green runs, we talk about this almost every single week with Matt Kenseth. He just gets, it's not that he gets stronger. His car just don't give up like some of the other cars.
Last week, after the last caution on the restart, he fell back to about 15th, 16th place, but he finished 9th.
Now the 0 Jack Sprague is a lap down as Kenny Wallace tries to get past. Here's a couple of champions. Tony Stewart, the defending Winston Cup champ, chasing Bill Elliott.
I mean, Bill Elliott, he started back in 28th, but remember, he had to go to the rear of the field because of an engine change. And, I mean, he's up to 18th, but he's coming off that good run at Fontana, and I think he has a little momentum on him as well. Hearing that the rain's picking up just a little bit. We're 25 laps from halfway, because these guys are really going to step it up and get racy now.
Trying to keep a lot of heat in the racetrack as Bobby Labonte leads Joe Nemechek by 0.6 of a second. This is NASCAR on FX. NASCAR on FX is brought to you by Budweiser. The best things in life are the things that are true. Budweiser. .182 laps complete. The Pontiac Excitement 400. Bobby Labonte leads by 0.4 of a second over Joe Nemechek. Rusty Wallace has closed the gap down to 0.8 of a second. Then it's Dale Jr., Jeff and Ward Burton, Jimmy Johnson, Kurt Busch, the rookie Casey Mears in front of Matt Kenseth, 9th and 10th. That's pretty good battle.
Yeah, right there's a great battle.
He's done a great job tonight.
Well, Kenseth's caught him between two rookies there, and he's got his hands full. He can't get around Casey, and he's got Biffle breathing down his back bumper.
You're riding with Greg Biffle, the defending Busch Series champ. Got it. Get well, Jerry Nadeau says on the dash.
Boy, Joe Nemechek in that 25, he's catching the leader right now. But I'm going to tell you, here's a guy that's running good. Ward Burton in that 22 car. He's up to 6th position, started in 20th. Ward made his first career start here in March of 1994.
Ward is the track record holder, and he started that far back, Larry, because he said he left a lot on the table on his qualifying lap. Wasn't happy with it, led a lot of this race last year.
Exactly, and I'm going to tell you another guy looking to get his season turned around. Ricky Rudd, that 21 car. He's up to the 14th position. Started back in 27th, pretty solid all night. They came here and tested. This is a brand new car. They had a good test, and all they worked on, Darrell, was long green runs.
And, you know, you expect Ricky Rudd to run good here. There's some tracks you go to, like Rusty, you expect him to run good here. Tony Stewart. And if you don't capitalize on the places you need to, where you do run good, then you're really going to be in trouble everywhere else.
Jeff Burton coming back up into play, into the top 5, the fastest car in final practice. Again, he didn't qualify that well, but he's made it to the top 5.
Boy, and he jumped back in the throttle right there, though. Car got a little sideways in turn 4, but you remember they got off a little bit, I think, after that first pit stop. But Paul Andrews, they've made the right adjustments, and his car looks good and solid, strong on the long run here.
Brian Newman is back in the race after replacing parts in the rear end of his Altel Dodge. Nemechek is there, just 0.2 of a second off Bobby Labonte, and that's but a car length here.
Yeah, you know, our leader, though, he's having a great short track season. He's had 2 great finishes already at Bristol and Martinsville, 2nd at Martinsville, and here he is leading the race again tonight. He and old Fatback McSwain, they seem to have something working.
They're catching a lot of lap cars, including just a few cars in front of them. Our pole sitter, Terry Labonte, he's just a little bit from going a lap down.
That car at Terry's has not been right since the pit stop.
And I got to think it's air pressure because, you know, he got up out of the groove down there. He said he thought he had a flat tire. He was having all kind of problems. Sounds like they were all tire related.
But I'm going to tell you what, Darrell, you said don't bring your Martinsville car here. That car Bobby Labonte's up there leading the race with. That's the one that he ran 2nd with. You just got to have the Martinsville car with the Richmond setup.
Yeah, that car doesn't know where it is. But the 3/4 car, those drop cars like they like to run at Martinsville and some of them on the road course, they just don't work good here.
Now explain that, please. A 3/4 drop snout car.
Yeah, it's just, Larry, you're the crew chief. You tell them.
I mean, the front suspension points are just lowered down on it. It lowers what we call the roll center. And it really works good on flat, tight corners, like Darrell said, in a road course or like Martinsville. But the sensation it'll give you here, it may cut the center better, but because it rolls over, it makes it a loose feel getting in the corner.
So does that mean when they build the car, they drop the front frame rails, the snout, down 3/4 of an inch?
Mainly the suspension points, just the suspension points.
And Dale, I think Dale Jr.'s car's the 3/4 car.
Dale Jr. just went past Rusty for 4th, and now he may give up 4th to Jeff Burton on the outside.
Boy, Burton really sailed it around the outside of Rusty there.
Yeah, Rusty's car, the Miller Lite car, it's starting to fade just a little bit in this long green run.
And that's kind of tradition. That's kind of what Rusty's cars will do. They'll be really fast on the restarts, sit out there for about 50 laps, and then at the end of the run, which is not a bad thing, the car looks like it gives up a little bit.
I could do it, or just call it late all right.
Mayfield, Jeremy Mayfield on the outside, Bobby Labonte trying to put Mayfield a couple laps down now.
And there's just no place really for a lap car to get out of the way of this racetrack.
No, if you get down low, you're in the groove. If you move up, you pick up that debris on your tires, and then you can't go, and you get yourself in trouble.
Only 2 cars in the garage. Steve Park, who crashed out on lap 43, and Jimmy Spencer, who wrecked 100 laps later when something broke on his car.
I'm going to tell you, just watching the score monitor, and I know Jeff Hammond down in the Hollywood Hotel has been watching the same thing. I think the track is cooling down, Jeff. But boy, I'm telling you, we're seeing some lap times pick up here 4 laps before the halfway.
Larry, I couldn't believe it. All of a sudden, we talked about racing the halfway. It's a great indication right now of what these guys are really worried about. And you see how right now the groove is. It's bright red, and they're really working it hard right now, trying to get the halfway. And they realize that once this thing goes past halfway and the rains do come, they could decide who the winner is, and everybody's really up on the wheel. Makes me wonder, cars may not be that bad because everybody's really kind of pushing that envelope that much harder.
Well, you know, Jeff, when the water was seeping out of the track earlier in the week, as long as all the cars are on the racetrack, it didn't create a problem. It's when the track's set. So as long as we don't have a caution flag, I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah, we're getting a report that the track temperature has cooled down from 74 degrees at the start of the race down to 67 degrees. Gives these cars a lot more grip. They bite the racetrack harder.
They're going to get the cross flags when they come around next time, and that indicates halfway.
It indicates an official race 1 lap after halfway. Okay, Joe Nemechek in the 25 car, and boy, he touched Labonte on the left rear, got himself sideways, but his car looks like he's just getting better and better into this run.
Yeah, Joe's car looks really fast. He's able to run low, he's able to run high. He's got a great line around 3 and 4 down here.
That was the only Chevy in the top 5 in final practice yesterday.
You can just see in Joe Nemechek, he gets so excited to talk about his team. He and Peter Suspenzo, they just really are coming together as a team. They're building new cars, getting things sorted out.
His wife Andrea looking on. That's Joe's wife.
DW, Larry, a couple of guys right now, again, watching those lap times. I'm wondering if Joe Nemechek's starting to pick that pace up because he knows Dale Earnhardt Jr. has also picked the pace up. And a guy that just jumped up in the top 10, Greg Biffle, his lap times are considerably faster than what they've been over the last 5 or 6 laps.
But I'm going to tell you what, Jeff, his teammate Matt Kenseth, the 17 car in ninth, he's the quickest car right now. We have 4 Roush cars in the top 10 right now.
Yeah, Roush has just done an incredible job putting the drivers and the crew chiefs together the way he has the last year and a half or 2. It's really been impressive to watch.
But it's 2 Chevys up front fighting for the lead. Bobby Labonte, Joe Nemechek. Make that 3 cars. Dale Earnhardt Jr. just half a second off the lead. Then it's Rusty Wallace's Dodge, Jeff Burton's Ford, Ward Burton's Dodge, the Ford of Kurt Busch, and the Chevy of Jimmy Johnson. Nemechek makes it through.
Boy, there you see Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that Budweiser car. You heard Jeff Hammond talk about coming. He's there.
400 laps complete. NASCAR Winston Cup Racing on FX is brought to you by UPS, official delivery company of NASCAR. We want to race the truck. People love the truck. UPS delivers a chance to win 4 tickets to the Daytona 500. Log on to foxsports.com, keyword UPS Racing. And you see the slow speed from Dale Jarrett's view out the windshield, and you see those drops of rain. Jimmy Howell has his rain gear on and the caution flag in hand at lap 210. We are halted for rain once again.
And I'm going to assume that all the teams running at the front are looking at the same radar that I'm looking at, because pit road is open and only the cars at the rear of the field on the lead lap have come to pit road. They know this race could be in trouble.
I ain't coming to pit road till I run out of gas right now.
Mark Martin's in, Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, Bill Elliott.
These guys have to come to pit road because they were about to get lapped.
Johnny Benson, Jamie McMurray, Todd Bodine, and Dale Jarrett are on pit road. Andrea likes the rain. Her husband's out front.
Let it rain, let it rain.
Now the question is, who will stop the rain?
Matt.
Steve Letarte, the car chief, already made a track bar adjustment on Jeff Gordon Chevrolet, so the car was getting a little bit better. They made that track bar adjustment to help him out.
Like I say, these cars were way at the back of the lead lap cars. Nothing to lose. Go ahead and make your adjustments, and unlike Andrea Nemechek, hope the rain stops.
Terry Labonte in, Jeremy Mayfield among the lapped cars now. Robbie Gordon, Ryan Newman, Mike Skinner, Michael Waltrip, Jack Sprague. Jeff Green comes in. He's a lead lap car. Dave Blaney and the 0-1 for Jason Keller. Let's go down to the Hollywood Hotel where the wipers are on full.
All right, from the Hollywood Hotel, a few raindrops are falling behind us. A front row Joe Nemechek leading. Bobby Labonte, by the way, celebrates his 38th birthday this Thursday, hoping for another short track win. The only short track win in his career came at Martinsville last year. How do you assess, given the way the leaderboard looks here at the moment, Jeff, as we look at Bobby Labonte and the rain?
Well, a couple of things right now starting to kind of come out is that if it doesn't, as far as the rain comes, if it doesn't affect this race right now, the guys that just recently have come in, they're going to have an advantage over these guys, and it could play out as the race progresses. Because again, you get it down and start running this race backwards, and Larry Mack, you know that the guys that just pitted right now will have to come in, and you see a lot of cars right now starting to come in, realizing they need to get these tires. Like, we're going to go back green, and you've got to figure that this race is going to go the distance no matter what you do.
And the Hendrick drivers dominated the first 120 laps, leading 96 of those. And, of course, with Nemechek, part of the Hendrick Motorsports. And certainly you talked about the success of Chevy, at least in getting ready for this race.
Yeah, right now looking inside the car of Kevin Harvick right there. You see the driver right there working, coming up through the gears, looking up, checking the rearview mirror as he goes off pit road. And that's a pretty cool little camera angle we've been looking at all night long, because it gives you an opportunity to see how much work that driver is actually doing inside the car.
And there's obviously not a lot of room for these guys.
No, it really isn't. And we've only got one lap to go, getting ready to go back green. So, as we said earlier, these guys not pitting could come into play, and it could be real interesting as we go on.
All right, let's go back upstairs. Mike, Larry, and Darrell.
We see something interesting here for the second time tonight, giving the field the one-to-go sign to double up the cars to help keep that track as dry and as much heat in it as possible, then waving it off and getting the cars relined up again, which is what they've done. They want everybody out there weaving back and forth to keep as much heat in the track as possible.
Yeah, and the guys up in the front of the field, they're in a dilemma. They'd like to come to pit road and get fuel and tires. But what if it starts raining again here after 10 or 15 laps?
Look how quickly the track has gone from orangish to green, and then of course the coldest temperature picked up by that Raytheon camera, blue.
There you see the track temperature right there. Remember when it started, it was 74 degrees. Now it's 67 degrees. Darrell, we talked about this earlier. Look what it was when these guys were on the track last for race practice, 94 degrees.
Our FX thermal cam, developed by Raytheon, doesn't take pictures. It shows temperatures, the relative temperatures of the unused asphalt is the coolest color blue, as is the surrounding scenery. And it goes from blue to green to orange to red. The hottest color, as you see the lights over here, is white, is shown represented in white.
Pretty cool. I think the biggest thing it's shown us certainly is the heat in the track, but how that heat is expanded as the evening has gone on.
And you know, Darrell, I know you talk about our leaders being in a dilemma. It's not the end of the world here. We saw last night in the Busch race. This is a pretty good tire package for here. And they've got 54 laps on their tires. That's a lot of laps, but that's only half of a stop. And the thing about it, our top 16 cars, all the way from Joe Nemechek leading the race back to Elliott Sadler in the 38 car at 16, all of them have stayed out on this caution.
Joe Nemechek has 2 career wins. He's our leader, and Steve's with his crew chief.
Yeah, Mike, I heard Peter Suspenzo saying something about a rain dance.
Yeah, we'd like to see it pour right now. It'd be real good for us.
But I also heard you tell Joe that before the caution came out for rain, Peter, he was pulling away.
Yeah, he was starting to pull away a little bit from Bobby there, so hopefully it'll start pouring right here in about a minute.
If you get the one to go, will you come to pit road or will you stay out, Peter?
If what?
If you get the one to go, will you stay out or will you come to pit road?
No, we'll stay out.
And like I say, I don't think that is a bad move, especially if all your buddies behind you stay out with you. That's the main thing.
No, it's the only move right now. But if this race would kind of traditionally go green for a long period of time through the center of the middle of the race, that's what I'd be worried about. If you got to make a green flag pit stop, you're in big trouble.
Well, we saw Robbie Gordon lost 3 laps while earlier in the race making a green flag pit stop.
1 on the track and 2 laps pitting. NASCAR continues to hold the yellow flag in the air. That means we are not going green this time. Now Jimmy Howell furls up that flag and gives the one-to-go sign.
It really I never saw it rain, hardly just a little wee bit, maybe.
Chevys at the front of the field. Now that pretty much mirrors qualifying. Happy hour final practice was won by the Fords. Who wins the race?
I think who has the strongest race car is Kurt Busch. They have to straighten out their problems on pit road, though. They cannot have any more mistakes on pit road during pit stops.
Those Roush cars win. That's what the 99's up there. He's 5th. Busch is 7th. Kenseth is 8th. Biffle. Here's Biffle up there in 9th spot. So the Fords are up there. They're just not out of sequence right now, maybe.
Pace car looking to dive onto pit road. We're going back racing. 217 laps complete.
I hate restarts here, especially when you've been out on the same tires.
Let's crank it up for you, folks.
Sounds like a good plan to me. The rain is gone. We're going to go racing. Crank it up. Here, the 2 car is in 4th position, but the big problem, he's back there with a lot of lap cars. Look at all these shots. I mean, this just shows you, especially how close racing is after a restart.
And there's a lot of hoping they're good now cars in the back trying to bust their way to the front.
Well, I'd feel pretty good if I'd been to pit road and get through this melee here of restarts and I had 4 fresh tires. I'd be feeling pretty good about that, like a Jeff Gordon or somebody.
Jeff Gordon, Bill Elliott, Mark Martin, Tony Stewart, Terry Labonte, who pitted 4 times under that caution, are all in that situation.
But Darrell, Jeff Gordon, those fresh tires, 50-something laps fresher tires, it's so hard to pass. He's only made 1 position up so far. He's going to have to get this thing strung out a little bit to be able to pass cars.
Yeah, well, he's, you know, they're 2 wide, 3 wide, all over the place in front of him. He's got to work his way through here.
Looking at Jason Keller from that left side window cam.
This is when you hope that guy underneath that right there stays there. Please don't, I mean, you get close, but please don't hit me.
Trouble turn 1. Backing into the wall. I think that's Sadler. And Tony Stewart is hard in the wall in turn 2.
Yeah, he's riding all the way up to the, he's in the wall over there.
Caution is out. Robbie Gordon still trying to make another lap up. He will not make it up. Elliott Sadler, the 38 car, a lot of damage to that car.
Like I was saying there on that restart, you know, when you've been out there on the same tires, you pick up a lot of debris. The tires cool off. They just don't. They're not as good after they've been cycled like that.
And Elliott Sadler was one of the cars that did not pit, but Tony Stewart in the 20 car, he did have fresh tires.
Now Sadler's got another problem. You cannot return to the track without a rear spoiler, and his is dangling by 1 bolt and 1 nut. Stewart's okay, getting ready to climb out. Look at him at the top of the screen. As Sadler is the 4th car in line here, and he gets tipped by John Andretti.
Yep, that's what happened. And here comes Tony. Now watch, he's trying to squeeze by, and he gets up in the debris, he picks up all that rubber and debris on his tires, and he can't keep him hitting the wall.
Now, Darrell, here's all of our leaders on pit road except for Joe Nemechek. He stayed out again. Everybody else, Bobby Labonte back, they're on pit road. Dick Berkman.
Rusty Wallace is one of those leaders who is in on this round of pit stops. Not much debate. They decided almost immediately that they would pit now. Matty.
A little damp down here on pit road. Mark Armstrong slipped a little bit as he came around the left front of the car. Labonte down and away. He is going to beat Rusty Wallace easily off pit road.
1 collision on pit road. Jeff Burton got tagged by Casey Mears as they exited the pits. Peter Suspenzo, Nemechek's crew chief, must have Bullwinkle's bunion. That's the one that could predict the weather. He must be sure it's going to rain. leaving his driver out there.
I mean, again, it is a tough dilemma, but Joe Nemechek, that group, Peter Suspenzo, you see him here talking to Joe Nemechek, they need to win a race. They really need to get to victory lane. Again, we talked about it. The tires are not that bad here, and who this really benefits, though, is people like Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, guys like that pitted that last caution. It moves them all the way up.
Let's show you the collision exiting the pits.
RDUA pass.
Teammates, Kurt Busch in the 97, Jeff Burton in the 99. I watched Peter Suspenzo. That's the reason I had a standard order of Maylocks coming every week.
And it's 60 degrees out there and he's sweating.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
He's made the call. Now we'll see.
Fat bag, you pitting? I'm pitting. Okay, good. You're staying out.
NASCAR on FX is brought to you by Pontiac, Fuel for the Soul, by Red Wing Shoes, and by Denny's.
Tony Stewart's car being dragged back to the garage area after pounding the wall following Elliott Sadler's crash. Joe Nemechek did pit, surrendering the lead. He will restart 25th.
Yeah, apparently he didn't hear the call to come in.
And the leader of our race is Jeff Gordon in the 24 car, but he's back at the 5th row. All these cars in front of him are trying to get their lap back.
Box tracks on Gordon in the middle of the pack.
I'd say they have a pretty good chance, even though he's got fresher tires possibly than some of these guys. Hadn't been running all that good, but maybe they've helped that piece.
Let's get to Joe Nemechek's pit and Steve.
And Mike Darrell was right.
Trouble. Carhart in the wall. Casey Mears. He and Matt Kenseth making contact. Caution is out, and a bunch of people are going to get a lap back here. At least half a dozen of them.
All those cars that started in front of the leader, Jeff Gordon, will get their lap back. Robbie Gordon will get another lap back.
Pretty good, guys.
Pace car picks up Gordon quickly.
The 17 may have damage. He got into the back of the 41 car over there.
Jack Sprague get a lap back. Jeremy Mayfield, Mike Skinner, Michael Waltrip, Dave Blaney.
Let's show you from Matt Kenseth.
Oh, gosh. 41 car got on the brake, locked the right front up, and slid up in front of him. 41 car, Casey Mears must have been running down in the corners. People checked up in front of him. He got on the brakes, locked that right front up, and took it up the hill.
I guess they can get that rubber in there. So let's go ahead and we'll take a look at it and we'll get that fixed right away, too. Put 4 tires on it, guys. Got to keep an eye on the pace, guys.
That's Robbie Reiser, Kenseth's crew chief, and this would nip his point lead to 6 over Dale Earnhardt Jr. He came in here 44 points in the lead.
I mean, Dale Earnhardt Jr., see him on pit road right now. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been nipping some of that points lead for about the last 3 or 4 races.
Yeah, the Kenseth's car's not hurt. I mean, that's just cosmetic there. I don't think it did a lot of damage.
Junior, however, has never yet led the Winston Cup standings.
Yeah, he's made up 122 points in the last 3 races.
Back to Steve and Joe Nemechek's pit.
Yeah, Mike, what was happening, I was telling you, when the caution came out, Joe heard the call to come to pit road, but he had already passed the entrance, and they couldn't afford to pit under green, so reluctantly they hit pit road. Matt Yoakum.
Well, Steve, here in the 5 pit, Wilson, Terry Labonte, Jim Long, you guys have worked a lot on that car tonight. What's wrong?
Well, we started the race out, and we were dragging pretty bad when we started the race out, and it's just gotten worse and worse. And he go into the corner and the thing just slide up because it was dragging. So we come in and put some rounds in the right front here, maybe help him out a little bit. Maybe we'll have some luck to get our lap back because we got an awful good car.
He's all the way back at 31st, 1 lap down, Mike.
Now, Nemechek's problem, and Larry, you know this, I've ridden around here and said, come on, tell me what you want, tell me what you want to do, tell me what you want to do. The crew chief was waiting to see what everybody else was going to do. He got his car past the entrance to pit road before he told Joe.
So Nemechek is 23rd. His Hendrick teammate Jeff Gordon is the leader here in Richmond. They restarted a lap and a half to go, and Jeff Gordon, whose car was so loose in the early stages of this race, he could hardly drive it, has found that the race has come to him.
Well, these crew chiefs, a couple of them I've worked with, they can wave a magic wand over these things. And you don't know they asked them what they do. They didn't do nothing to mess it up, and they didn't do nothing to fix it. That's what I never could understand.
You know the biggest thing he has now?
Greg Biffle in the wall coming off 2.
No caution. He has that track position. They got out of sync on pits. And a lot of that was a product of their car not being that good.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I go, what y'all do to my car? We didn't do nothing.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car, the Budweiser car, he's back there in 11th position.
Yeah, that's for position, fighting with Todd Bodine on the outside.
And Todd Bodine was one of those cars like Jeff Gordon. We had about 10 or 11 cars that pitted 12 laps before all these leaders right behind Todd Bodine. That's how they got back in the pack.
Yeah, they got the good track position on this last round of pit stops.
Tony Stewart cleared from the infield care center, but his car behind the wall along with Elliott Sadler's from that wreck at lap 223.
And if he don't get back in, Mike, in the last 6 races, that would be 4 DNFs. He's completely out of the top 10 in points.
Wow. Darrell, I think, and it may be because of the weather, this is the hardest fought race we've seen at Richmond in a long, long time.
I tell you the thing, it's just these cars are all so equal. I mean, just like in qualifying, just like in practice, the dadgum things are all running about the same speed, and it's just who gets track position, who makes good pit stops, things of that nature.
Right out front of our leader, Jeff Gordon, as we got a battle heating up with Jeff Gordon in 24, Mark Martin in the 6, and old Bill Elliott back there in 3rd. Right in front of these guys is little Casey Mears, who was involved in that last caution. He's still on the lead lap. He definitely wants a caution flag.
Here comes Mark Martin after the lead.
He might get one back in. Wait, they're looking back into behind him.
2 drivers who did not figure at all in the first half of this race are fighting for the lead.
Mark Martin qualified in 30th, and that's about where he's ran most of the night.
Then he's been in the pit for some reason and had the hood up there one time. I don't know what kind of problem they were having. They fixed it.
And I'm going to tell you who has a fast race car also, right behind Bill Elliott, the 01 Jason Keller in that Jerry Nadeau car. It's like he gets behind those guys and he gets a rhythm. He has a good race car.
Casey Mears got up out of the groove over there off turn 2. Had to get out of the gas and almost got caught up with Jeff Gordon.
Martin wants the lead. Gordon led that lap, but not by much.
Dale Jr.'s.
Ooh, a little roughed up there.
Dale Jr.'s got a problem, too. I think, can't tell what it is.
It's Jimmy Johnson just in front of him, for one thing.
Well, Dale Jr. slowed down quite a bit. I don't know if he picked up some trash on his tires or what, but he fell back real quick.
Dale Jr., we're told, ran into the back of Johnny Benson.
Yeah, something happened to him, and he all of a sudden slowed. He's coming back.
Jeff Gordon has come alive here and leads with 150-some laps to go. Matt Yoakum.
Mike, rain has been a concern for teams up and down pit road in the storyline we followed all night. In fact, under that last caution, crew chief Robbie Loomis sent the head of team position, Dr. Scott McNair, down the NASCAR hauler to get a videotape with his home video camera of NASCAR's radar. Right in the center of the screen is Richmond International Raceway. You can see all of the green around it. Robbie said to Jeff Gordon, I hope it rains, I hope it floods. The radar does not look good.
Well, Matt, I'm living proof that's much better than sending someone to the NASCAR track to read the weather map.
Tell that story. It's a great.
Yeah, we was at the Southern 500. Great. My buddy DW, he didn't have that good of a race car that day, but he won the Southern 500 because I sent a man that could not read the weather map.
I can't believe you'd say that. I had a good enough car to win the race with.
You won the race.
That's all I wanted.
Dick Bergkrant.
Mark Martin is having an incredible run this evening, looking for the lead from Jeff Gordon. He's being urged on by crew chief Ben Leslie. He started in 30. Right now, he's running in 2nd spot. Made many pit stops early on as we have a caution flag. Those pit stops for Mark Martin were because he had a bulky steering. And they had the hood up twice, worked on the steering, and they got it fixed.
Johnny Benson got turned around down the front straightaway, and that has put us under caution for the 6th time tonight. Larry Foyt damaged to the right side in that one. Didn't see how it got started.
I didn't either. I saw the 10 car go around. Happened here on the right at the start finish line on the front straightaway. Of course, this front straightaway is very deceiving. You're in a turn all the time.
Larry Fort and the 14 car got together with Brett Bodine and the 11 car that was going off into turn 1 on the front stretch.
And I'm sorry, it was Larry Foyt who spun around. We were informed it was Johnny Benson. Benson was not involved. This is a little earlier. This is Junior and Johnny Benson.
That's what slowed the Junior down when I noticed he was falling back. Now he goes down there and gets hung up behind the 48. They both see the 48 got loose, slid up in front of Junior.
And here it is from Jimmy Johnson. Lap 251, 6th caution, the flag of the night in Richmond. Green flag as we come off the 7th caution of the night. Jeff Gordon is the leader. Robbie Gordon has come from 4 laps down. He's trying to get himself back on the lead lap now.
And he will, too, because that car is so much better than it was at the beginning of the race. They did the right thing, Larry. They came to pit road early, worked on that car, and fixed it so they could get back in this race.
And, I mean, there he goes right there. Yeah, he was lap before lap 20. At one point there before lap 25, 4 laps down, and here he is about to get back on the tail end of the lead lap. And you know what? I believe he's going to do it.
Yeah, the thing about this, he could have easily wrecked that car early in the race. It was so bad.
Lap 212 could be pivotal to this race. That was the caution flag for rain as Mark Martin looks under Jeff Gordon for the lead. Now they pitted when the other leaders did not. They were running 17th and 16th and now find themselves racing for the win.
Just like Bill Elliott in that 9 car right there, as well as Jamie McMurray in the 42 car. And I'm going to tell you the car that really I think is going to prevail here, Ward Burton in the 22 car. We know he had a good car early. Frankie Stoddard and that group, they were the only one that rode the dice and came to pit road early when like Jeff Gordon and those guys did.
Well, of course, you remember last year here, Ward set a new track record and led the race until the transmission broke.
The big surprise in that front pack is McMurray, number 42. On 2 of the long green flag runs tonight, he was nearly lapped.
Well, so was Gordon. He was almost to go a lap down there at one time.
Kevin Harvick trying to move up, and he's in 7th place. Another of that group that pitted a little out of sequence with the other leaders. 1970, right here, James Hilton came from 5 laps down to score his first career win. It can be done.
It can be done, but I'm going to tell you, Kevin Harvick, you just mentioned him, Mike. Remember, he won that Busch race last night, and he's got the track position, and he had a good race car last night, but he won that race last night because of getting out of sync and track position at the end.
Let's check with Matt Yoakum.
Mike Bobby Labonte under that caution had conversations with Fatback and Swain. He was concerned about the front bumper on that last restart. He had made contact with the 45 of Kyle Petty. Fatback said the bumper looks good, everything looks good. Remember, that's
Turn
the car
2,
that we
Ricky
had
Craven.
at Martinsville.
In the wall, Craven hard, and that'll bring out a caution.
And
Robbie Gordon will get that lap back. He is back on the lead lap after being 4 laps down. It took him about 250 laps to do it, but he's there.
Now comes the hard part. Because now instead of restarting up alongside the leader, you will restart in 31st place.
Ricky Craven went down into turn 1, wobbled and bobbled, and then put it into the wall right front first.
Yeah, he hit over there earlier, Mike, and then they've been in and worked on it. They readjusted the toe. I've seen him work on it quite a bit, and now he's got problems, more problems.
Well, it's a drive away instead of a tow away.
Yeah,
but it looks like a put it away.
Now, Jamie McMurray of our front cars, he's the only one that seems like he's going to come to pit road right now. Todd Bodine, who was really starting to slide back, the 54 car, he's on pit road.
So is Matt Kenseth and Kurt Busch.
And you know how good Nemechek's car was, and he is really just hung up back here in traffic. It's just hard to pass.
And he actually came to pit road again back there on lap 252 on the last caution.
Yeah, he's all the way back in 23rd spot, Larry, and hasn't made a lot of progress.
Casey Mears, Jason Keller pit. Robbie Gordon back on the lead lap trying to get fresh tires.
He is a prime example. Never give up.
That's right. I'd give him a attaboy and something good cold to drink.
Steve?
Mike, just want to follow up on defending Winston Cup champ Tony Stewart. Went to the garage. He's okay, but very frustrated. 2 tough weeks in a row for him. I talked to Jason Shapiro, one of the lead mechanics on that team. He said the front clip of the chassis is bent. By the time they got it fixed, the race would be over, so he is done for the evening.
He joins Jimmy Spencer and Steve Park in the garage. Out of the race, Elliott Sadler's car is still under repair, and there's a lot of damage to Ricky Craven, who has brought out the 8th caution of the evening. 263 complete, 137 laps to go in the Pontiac Excitement 400. You're watching NASCAR on FX. We restarted, and Mark Martin got away from the field, but just now at lap 268, Jeff Green spins off a turn 2. Jason Keller in the 0-1 cannot miss him. Rusty Wallace may have received some damage in that one.
Yeah.
A couple others spun.
Rusty's got a little right front damage, but I don't think it's he's going to have to come to pit road, but nothing serious.
Ricky Rudd spun. Several cars all wadded up behind Jeff Green's spin.
And just like we saw last night, as we restart these races with cars a lap down, and the closer to the end of the race it gets, the harder people try, and they want to get back on the lead lap, and they end up getting themselves in trouble.
Watch the 30 car of Jeff Green.
Oh, see, the 22 got in the back of the 12.
Harvick gets in the back of his teammate Jeff Green in the 30 car. Of course, again, we've talked about it all night. Then the chain reaction breaks out.
Now, from the chopper, you'll see the initial contact up in this area, I believe.
Yeah, the 22 gets into the back right there. And I've got to think that he said, look, 12 car, how many laps down are you?
I mean, Ryan Newman's 89 laps down.
And way on the right side of your screen, Rusty Wallace hit Keller pretty hard.
And he also got in the side of his teammate, Ryan Newman, as he went up the racetrack.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of damage.
Dick Bergman.
It's really interesting working Rusty Wallace pit. He is behind the wheel of the race car, and he is shouting instructions to the crew as to what to do. He was in the middle of all this, so he knows what's most damaged. Billy Wilburn also hollering instructions. Most of the work now in the right front corner of the car as they're trying to pull the fender out so to clear the tire, and he has just run over the air hose.
Well, they're trying to get him out quickly, Dick, to keep him on the lead lap.
Well, he's going to come back in anyway, and he would be started at the back, so bad deal, but
yeah, I mean, he needs to do whatever he needs to do here to stay on the lead lap. If it means running over jacks, air hoses, or speeding, because the penalty started to tell him the longest line.
Worst deal for Jeff Green. Let's watch from his teammate, Kevin Harvick.
You can hear Harvick gets back to the gas. I think what happened was Jeff had to check up a teeny bit. Harvick didn't. Got into the back of him, turned him around. Ooh. Boy, Rusty did hit the 01 really hard.
And then he hit the 30 of Jeff Green.
Boy, Jeff Green, he hit that wall hard.
Leader is pitting. Dick?
And here's Mark Martin. He's going to pit. They're going to fire 4 tires at this automobile. A bit of a surprise that they're coming in right now, but that is their choice. Right sides are on now, working on the left. Todd Ziegler is the front tire man. Chris Hallenick is the rear tire man, picking it up a little bit, trying to get that jack under a little bit more quickly. 4 tire change for Mark Martin out of the lead.
And I mean, I would hate to give up the lead and go all the way to the rear of the field, but what these guys could be thinking, we've already seen with Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, Bill Elliott, how important track position is. You know what? I look at the scoreboard. They can make it from here.
Jamie McMurray pitted at the end of the last caution flag. He may be trying to go the distance, which is 129 laps from now at Richmond. for the restart after a caution flag that spoiled a great night for Jeff Green. He had started 41st and worked his way up to 5th. Matt Yoakum on Mark Martin's stop.
Robbie Loomis actually keyed the mic of Jeff Gordon, said the 6 is requesting to look at his tires. Jeff said, oh yes, it's flat. It is definitely flat. And he was so quick that the crew thought he was joking when they saw on our monitor the 6 hit the pit road. Their jaws hit the ground, and then Jeff said, you know, we might want to have somebody take a look at our tires too, just in case. The 9 says the 24 tires are okay.
We're picking up a conversation of Jimmy Johnson with his crew.
I think the sealer's starting to wear away a lot more, and the grip level's just going down. So more than likely, we'll probably need to free it up a little bit all the way around. That's why it might feel like it's on the right front. I think I'm using on the brake to try to make it turn through the center.
Yeah, what he's saying is he's riding the brake, riding the car down and trying to make it turn, because they've worn all the sealer off the bottom groove now, and the only thing that'll fix that is for Mr. Feelgood.
And I'm going to tell you, go ahead, Steve Burns.
Hey guys, Jeff Green just made a beeline to his teammates pit. Kevin Harvick in the 29 and started poking his crew chief Todd Berry in the chest. The team owner Richard Childers finally came up and grabbed Jeff and tried to get him calmed down. He's headed back to his race car. Green flag.
Jeff Gordon, front of the field. Bill Elliott, Ward Burton, Kevin Harvick, Bobby Labonte on the restart.
What I was going to say about Jimmy Johnson telling Chad Knaus I'm using my brake pedal to help it turn, that's a devil's advocate, because what that's going to do is put more heat in the front tires, make the front air pressure go up. That's going to hurt the turning. You can't fix it that way.
No, and that's kind of an old road course trick. You might be able to get away with that on a road course, but not on a track like this. You might want to figure another way.
Kevin Harvick is up to 4th. Unfortunately, his teammate Jeff Green a round off his bumper, and Steve is with Jeff Green.
Jeff, you had a great run going. We saw you talking to Todd Barrier. What did you guys talk about?
Todd's a crew chief on the 29, and Kevin spun me out. Ward hit the 12 getting into 1, but man, that wreck was over. We didn't make any contact. Kevin spun me out. We're supposed to be teammates, but it doesn't seem that way right now.
Ward Burton slips way up the track, loses a spot to Harvick, and 1 to Bobby Labonte, and 1 to Jeff Burton.
How about this battle right here? I'm telling you, awesome, Bill. The more we go in this season, the more racing you get.
Larry, he drove it down in there real hard and lost it, and Jeff Gordon saved him.
But he will take the lead, and I'm going to tell you, Kevin Harvick in the 29, he takes 2nd place.
Well, this race is changing as we go along here dramatically.
But Darrell, it's in the playbook of short track racing. You go in on the inside, 8 wheels corner better than 4.
That's what they always told me on a short track. They always told me, if you're racing, your right side will be torn up. If you're not, your left side will be torn up.
Bill Elliott, Kevin Harvick, Bobby Labonte, Jeff Gordon, Jeff Burton, Dale Jr. here battling Ward Burton for 6th place.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the Budweiser car has a little fresher tires than some of these guys right in front of him, like Ward Burton in the 22.
You know, Larry, this is so reminiscent of last night with Kevin Harvick. Didn't hear a whole lot about him. Had a decent race car, but then at the end of the night, when it really counted, he was up there in the lead and nobody could get around him.
He definitely has, I think, a faster race car right now than Bill Elliott. He can run his car a lot lower, as you see right there through the middle of 1 and 2.
I think that Gordon and Elliott and a couple of 3 of these guys are the beneficiaries of track position, making that one pit stop there that got them all up front.
Just remember, Kevin Harvick started back in 36th position.
Single file, 1, 2, 3. Elliott, Harvick looking. Labonte 3rd and 4th. They're side by side. Jeff Burton underneath Jeff Gordon, but he couldn't hang on to it.
And he's going to lose a position to his brother Ward Burton in the 22 car, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. pulls to the outside of him, so he's losing 2 or 3 positions here.
The fastest car on the racetrack right now, and a guy that's really getting it done, is that 25 car, Larry. He is driving the wheels off of it, and he's passing them where he catches them.
And I'm going to tell you, I see his car bottomed out. Look at the battle for the lead here down the backstretch into turn 3, though. 3 cars right there. Bill Elliott, Kevin Harvick, and Bobby Labonte. Remember, probably one of the the best races we've ever had here, Kevin Harvick. He finished second to Ricky Rudd here, the fall race of 2001. Of course, winner of the Busch race last night.
Harvick's car is good, Larry, because it'll come off a 2 over there and stay on the bottom without jumping loose.
Exactly what Jeff Burton's car would not do, and that's why Burton went back. Harvick went forward to the lead.
When you can come off there in the throttle underneath of somebody and make the pass, you've got a pretty good car. And I just continue to be impressed with that 18 car. Low pressure. The short track performance this year has been stellar.
Jeff Gordon just lost 2 more positions to Ward Burton in the 22 Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 8 car. That's going to kick him back to 6th. Jeff Gordon's teammate Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car, he's working on Jeff Burton right now. That'd be a battle for 7th.
And Larry, the 24 car was running off those new tires that he got over everybody else. That little advantage he had there, because his car has not been very good all night, and it's starting to show up. But this cat right here, I'm watching him, and I love what he's doing. He's just coming through the field.
And Johnny Benson, he's been scraped around all night, but he is still a top 10 car. Now in 10th place with Nemechek moving to 9th.
What I was going to say about his car a while ago, it didn't do it that time getting into turn 1 because he arced it in, stayed out real high. But when he goes in low, we heard his teammate Terry Labonte talk about his car bottoming out. Well, you can tell they really have that car soft down in the racetrack. Plus, he's driving the wheels off, too.
Plus, they got a lot of rebound in the front shocks. I don't, it may not be anything to people at home, but they had like E+ rebound in the front, which is something like about what you run at Daytona or Talladega.
Which what rebound does when the car travels, it holds the nose down, help that car to turn.
So they got the soft springs and the big shocks, and it just keeps that nose on the ground.
Let's update you on the list of cars that had damage in that last crash. A little bit on Kevin Harvick. Jeff Green knocked out of the race. Rusty Wallace, right front damage. Jason Keller, Ricky Rudd, John Andretti, Ryan Newman, and Jack Sprague all received some damage in that last caution flag. Matt Kenseth at 13th. He's just passed Dale Jarrett, and he's trying to work his way back toward the front and regain some of that point margin that he lost earlier.
He needs long runs, really long runs. He needs to go to the end under green, and he'd be up there.
He's bringing his teammate with him in that Rubbermaid car right behind him, Kurt Busch, in the 97.
Just over 100 laps left in the Pontiac Excitement 400 on FX. Now, if you're playing our Via Grand Marshal for the day game, the 0 Jack Sprague is not our secret spinning car, but he has just brought out the 10th caution of the night with a big spin at turn 4. And then after he spun it, he turned it right up into traffic trying to get away.
Man.
Oh, my gosh.
It's, what would Ken Squire say? Oh, be still, my heart.
Yes, he would. Or, Grandma, put your teeth in your pocketbook for this one. Have a look here.
That was earlier. That's not this one.
Oh, no, this was much earlier.
This was a practice.
This wasn't even a spin. Let's go to pit stops, then we'll show you what brought out the caution. Steve?
And Kevin Harvick, they're going to make a track bar adjustment, Mike. They also made an air pressure on the number 29. 4 tires for Kevin Harvick. They took 2 tires early in the race, now 4, and their work is done. Matt.
Now Labonte is in, Steve. They're going to make a slight air pressure adjustment. Bobby Labonte very happy with his race car. As Bill Elliott, but here comes a 25 on by the 18. As they finish service on the left side, he stalls it a little bit, but gets off.
I'm going to tell you what, Joe Nemechek, that group, they got the job done on pit road. But I'm going to tell you some guys that stayed out that were on the lead lap, and it hadn't been that long since they were on pit road. Robbie Gordon, I think, I need to check here in a second when they come back around. I think he's going to be leading this race after at one point being 4 laps down.
I think the 25, Larry, I kind of think he didn't get 4 tires.
They took right sides only. We're getting a report right sides only.
And Captain Nemo was coming. He was up to 7th place.
I love that car. That car is flying.
Now, here's Jack Sprague's spin that brings out the caution.
He does. You know what?
Whoa. Boy, that was close on Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Well, what his problem now is I think he's got a left rear tire cut down. I think that contact he made that first go-round we saw cut his left rear tire down.
Yep.
And that's why he's having trouble getting righted. He was wrong, now he's righted.
Been a busy night for the pit crews. And with all stops timed, the participating crew in the McDonald's drive-through challenge, fueled by Powerade, will win $20,000. Michael Waltrip leads the standings with a $200 grand at the end of the season.
And let me tell you, Michael's done a pretty good job of keeping himself in this race too, Larry. He struggled there early on, but with Tony out, he's got a good chance to move up a little bit more in the points.
Here's what Dale Earnhardt Jr. saw. On the start of the race, he had to avoid Robbie Gordon. And from thermal cam.
You'll see this track heat up here in a second as he starts spinning these rear tires.
Oh, you see, he's got a left rear tire down there, and it's just leaving that one little streak.
Now, cars that stayed out, our top four, Mike, Robbie Gordon, Jamie McMurray, Todd Bodine, and Ricky Rudd, they pitted about 20 laps ago, so they stayed out, so they are leading the race. Everybody else, pretty much except Joe Nemechek, has 4 fresh tires. We're coming to the green with 97 laps to go.
And we'll crank it up.
You're going to have to outrun 31 and 25. That 31 car, he is for real. He didn't make those laps up by luck. He drove them up.
That car was so bad at the start of this race, he couldn't drive it.
I know. I wouldn't give you a plug nickel for him even making it to the pits. On his own power.
Much less to the finish of this race.
Right.
And now he's the 11th different leader of this race. That ties the record for the 3/4 mile track here at Richmond.
And speaking of the 25 car, Joe Nemechek, he's battling right now. Ricky Rudd for the 4th position. Look at the car right behind him, the 6th car. Like Joe Nemechek, we got the report from our guys in the pits. He changed 2 tires only, so everybody else has 4 tires. Like Kevin Harvick in that 29 car, I think that's another car these cats may have to beat tonight, Darrell.
For 7th place, Bobby Labonte on the outside of Harvick.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon, I've been watching him, guys. I don't know what's wrong with his car. It acts about like it did in the beginning of the race. He is going all the way to the end of the line. The longest line.
He's fallen to 17th. Terry Labonte's fought hard to get back on the lead lap. He is 27th of 28 cars on the lead lap here at Richmond with 91 to go.
And Kenny Schrader right behind him in the 49 car. He's back on the lead lap now. The leader, Robbie Gordon, is breathing down his neck right now. But Kenny Schrader, like Terry Labonte, they need a caution to get back on the lead lap to stay.
You know, it's hard to believe this is the first Winston Cup short track race Robbie Gordon has ever led.
Well, again, I am pretty much amazed and just almost can't believe that he got that car as good as it is. They put that spring rubber in the left rear, tightened that car up, and he has been getting it.
This is a battle for 6 right here. Mark Martin in the 6, Kevin Harvick, Bobby Labonte in the 18 car. Showing out the back of our leader, Robbie Gordon, looking at Kenny Schrader, who's back a lap down, and we're also looking in the 2 box here, the battle for 6 with Mark Martin in that group.
I said some cars that Larry, some cars that got up front there a little while ago, the 24, the 6, and a couple others, I think Bill Elliott, they were up there because of track position. They made a pit stop, and the caution fell just right and gave them the track position, got them up front. but I don't think any of those cars were all that great. They were okay, but they wasn't all that great.
Robbie Gordon has one Winston Cup win. Wasn't he the Thanksgiving turkey up in New Hampshire in that race that was rescheduled to that Saturday deal?
Yeah, the two Gordon boys, they got to battling it out up there, and Robbie came out on top.
And speaking of battle right here, how about this battle? This continues for fourth with Ricky Rudd and Joe Nemechek. Thought Joe Nemechek had him cleared a while ago. They run up on Todd Bodine. But remember, Todd Bodine, he's on the lead lap. He's in third position in the 54 car.
3 wide? No, almost. My goodness. And that cost Bodine. He had to back way out of it for Ryan Newman.
Yeah, the 12 car is trying to get out of the way.
And he should get out of the way. He's 116 laps down.
Yeah, I mean, he's been up there in the way quite a lot.
As you said,
it's hard to get out of the way.
There's no place to hide.
Outside.
So the inside lane will prevail around Ryan Newman. That's a break for Dale Jr. It's a break for Mark Martin. But it's not going to help Kevin Harvick.
And what about our, we talked about our leader, we talked about everybody else, but how about that McMurray kid? He's running second.
Got that track position.
Robbie Gordon, Jamie McMurray, Joe Nemechek, Ricky Rudd, and Bobby Labonte with 84 to go at Richmond. 27 cars on the lead lap at Richmond, and I think all of them have had a chance to run in the top 5 tonight at one time or another. John Andretti, just as we went to break, put us under caution for this spin at turn 2.
Probably a little bit of help from old DJ and the A car.
Yeah, quite a bit of help.
Let's see. Oh, yeah.
That new logo.
It's faster. Terry Labonte came in. Jeff Gordon came in as well.
Yeah, I mean, the reason these two guys pitted, one, Terry Labonte got his lap back. He's back on the lead lap. Getting fresh tires, you give up nothing. Jeff Gordon was going backwards. Needs to make adjustments on that car.
Dave Blaney and Mike Skinner, 2 more lead lap cars, also pitted.
Along with Greg Biffle.
Right. We're going to go back to green. 27 cars in the lead lap, and who doesn't have a chance to win it here in Richmond?
Got 69 laps to go.
Robbie Gordon has come from laps down to lead.
His car is so strong off the corner. I think you mentioned that earlier, Darrell.
Yep, he's back in that throttle, baby. He's digging.
Steve Burns is in Robbie's pit.
With crew chief Kevin Hamlin. Kevin, you guys have made an amazing comeback, and you go the rest of the way on gas.
For us, but yeah, we're pretty sure we can make it the rest of the way on fuel.
Pretty sure?
Pretty sure.
Well, I'm glad we interviewed him, because that answers the question why that car was so bad in the beginning, had a flat tire.
Joe Nemechek is coming. Robbie Gordon was not quite 4 laps down. He was on the tail end of 3 laps down when a caution came out, and he has made all 3 of those laps up. But he's going to have to deal with Joe Nemechek here in about 2 laps.
Yep.
It's a battle right here between Bob Labonte in 18. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the Budweiser, the number 8 car. That's a battle for 5th. And right in front of them, I'm pretty impressed with that brand new race car that the Wood brothers brought here for Ricky Rudd. 21 car.
Another driver was not a factor in the first half of this race, but has come on strong.
Well, he was sideways then.
He almost came on wrong then. Got a little help from Dale Jr. I think Dale Jr. is a little impatient right there.
75 laps to go. And every green flag lap as we race the rain here in Richmond has had the fans on the edge of their seats or on top of them.
Well, you got 27 cars on the lead lap, and we've had a lot of different cars up front with chances to win and lead. It's been pretty interesting.
Nemechek for the lead. And Ricky Rudd looks really strong getting around Junior.
Battle for the lead right there on the left. Battle for 4th place on the right.
And Jamie McMurray in the rocking chair by himself in 3rd.
And he's been sitting there quietly, just kind of riding along. He's in a really good spot. Out of harm's way, watching a great race.
And showing a lot of composure.
Got 5th place finish at Fontana last week. Finished 2nd here in the Busch race in the fall last year.
Wingo, was with Jimmy Spencer for a long time, and they ran good here a number of times. I tell you, Wingo he's a fine crew chief. They made a good selection there to put him with that kid.
Bobby Labonte comes back underneath Ricky Rudd. 4th place.
Took him several laps. He finally beat him in the corner and then beat him back to the throttle off the corner. Now Dale Earnhardt Jr. gets into this battle with Ricky Rudd.
Rudd, one of only 2 drivers to win on the 3/4 mile here at Richmond and the previous half-mile configuration. The other, Dale Earnhardt. Robbie Gordon feels the heat.
He can take it, though. Robbie Gordon doesn't mind the heat. He can take it. He can dish it out. That was a good move.
You know, just breathed a sigh of relief. Peter Suspenso, Nemechek's crew chief. During that prior caution, they didn't get him in with the rest of the lead lap cars. And Nemechek has had to go from the back to the front, and he's done it. Joe Nemechek leads here at Richmond, 62 laps to go. Robbie Gordon, 0.6 of a second back. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has passed Jamie McMurray to pick up 3rd, and Bobby Labonte has gone past McMurray into 4th. Ricky Rudd is 6th, Mark Martin 7th, Kevin Harvick 8th, point leader Matt Kenseth 9th, and Ward Burton 10th.
Of our top 3 cars, the car that definitely has the fresher tires, he looks like he may by far be the quickest car, is Dale Earnhardt Jr. I mean, he's running all the way up to the bumper of Robbie Gordon in the 31 right now.
Larry, could that 42 car McMurray, could he be saving fuel?
Well, I mean, he was last in, Darrell, on lap 272, 276, right in there. I mean, I don't see the need in it.
Okay.
On fuel for Robbie Gordon, here's Steve.
Yeah, we just heard Robbie Gordon tell his crew that he is saving fuel. He is trying to save some for a late run, so he may still have something yet for Joe Nemechek.
Robbie Gordon's best short track finish, 17th at Bristol this March.
Well, as Nemechek gets smaller in his window, he better not save too much.
We'll look at our top 3 and the fuel windows. This would be on Joe Nemechek, Robbie Gordon, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. There you see pretty much Robbie Gordon definitely has less fuel than Joe Nemechek and Dale Earnhardt Jr. As we sit here getting close to that 50 laps to go mark.
I think they'll be okay, though, there.
Yeah, I mean, as the pace slows down, you use less fuel. And a lot of the teams told me they could run close to 120 laps of fuel on fuel, so I think everybody will be okay.
Dale Jr. just slipped coming up off turn 4 and almost got the wall. Dick Berger, what's the problem on Jamie McMurray?
Well, he just got on the radio and said it blew up, Mike.
Oh. I knew something was going on with him because he just started slowing down all at once. I thought maybe, he was trying to save fuel, but looks like he may have dropped the cylinder.
You know, they're losing engines at places you wouldn't expect them to lose engines. They lost an engine at Martinsville a few weeks ago. He was running in the top 5 there. Everything was great at Fontana. There you see a lot of smoke out of it, and here it looks like they have engine problems here.
Yeah, he's lost the cylinder, and it'll just beat itself to death here shortly.
Mark Martin inside of Ricky Rudd. And that sends Mark Martin back up into the top half dozen. 6. That's his number. That's his position.
Good run for Mark. I mean, he worked on that car and got it a whole lot better than it was in the get-go.
But the field looking a lot like we qualified, Darrell, with 4 Chevys in the top 4 spots. Nemechek, Robbie Gordon, Earnhardt Jr., and Bobby Labonte. This has been Joe Nemechek's best short track. He's finished 6th here twice.
FX welcomes you back to Richmond on the Pontiac Excitement 400. 48 laps to go. Joe Nemechek leading with Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers in the Hollywood Hotel. We're trackside here under the lights. And as we keep an eye on the action, Robbie Gordon running 2nd. Joe Nemechek, your leader. Dale Earnhardt Jr. running 3rd. Let's look back. We hear about short track racing, short tempers, the frustration, the number of cautions earlier. Jimmy Spencer in the 7 car hitting the wall said, I'm serious about short track racing. And then we see Kyle Petty and Jack Sprague getting in with, that was on lap 63.
Yeah, and almost 250 laps later, Kyle Petty and Jack Sprague got together again, and because of that, Jack Sprague loses the left rear tire, and he's frustrated, almost gets in front of the leader. And right there you see teammates right there getting together, Kevin Harvick and driver Jeff Green going after Kevin Harvick's crew chief because he was upset. So
David Green was saying, he told us later, Kevin spun him out. He's supposed to be my teammate, but it doesn't look like it right now. That's what a short track will do to you. So Jeff, given the leaders that we see here, have they kept their cool tonight among all other things? So
far they have, because they got all their fenders on there for one thing, and they got themselves in position where they need to be here with 45 laps to go to make a run for the win.
Now let's rejoin Larry, Darrell, and Mike.
Robbie Gordon 2 laps ago almost put it into the turn 2 fence. He was battling Dale Jr., but Jr. has gone on and left him by half a second. Nemechek's lead now 2.4 seconds over Jr. Bobby Labonte's moved into third. Robbie Gordon back to fourth. Mark Martin, Ricky Rudd, Matt Kenseth.
Yeah. But I'm going to tell you, Joe Nemechek, our leader right now, he's not far from catching a lot of cars that's going to be desperate to try to stay on the lead lap, including his teammate, Jeff Gordon, in the 24 car. But you know the irony, and I know we have 45 laps to go, of Joe Nemechek leading this race. 1 year ago here, he didn't even have a Winston Cup ride. He substituted for Johnny Benson in the 10 car that had been hurt in the Busch race the night before. His first race in the 25 car was the Coca-Cola 600 at Lowe's Motor Speedway right at 1 year ago.
That's right. He started that season with Travis Carter and was a victim of the Kmart bankruptcy.
And really didn't even know if he was going to stay in the car this year. They had, you know, they talked about at the end of last year if Joe was going to continue on. But when they brought Peter Suspender over, that's when business picked up. Joe told me that he came in there and fixed his cars. Found a lot of things that they did to the cars that made them like Joe likes them.
Darrell, let's show you what happened to Robbie Gordon a little bit ago. About 4 laps ago. Jr. just sort of moved him over.
I think Robbie's used this stuff up. I think that's what I believe. He's almost looking like he did at the beginning of the race, Larry. He's starting to get a little loose.
Well, just remember the last time he was on pit road was lap 262, so he's pushing that 100 lap mark right now on his tires.
That was both views of what happened between Jr. and Robbie Gordon. Still 27 cars on the lead lap. Jeff Gordon, the last of those, about to be lapped. And here's Matt.
Back to Swain, Peter Gellin, a 3-time championship crew member who's old school down in the NASCAR radar. Instead of a high-end camera, he drew a picture of the radar, a laminated sheet of paper to show back where the rain is. You can see how it's slowly moving in. We give him an A+ for effort, maybe a B- or C+ for artwork. Bobby Labonte in third, a second, looking for a win on the short tracks this year.
Trouble down the back.
Into the inside, it's Dale Jarrett.
He got into somebody.
Caution is out. Caution is out.
12th caution of the night. 14 is the record. Comes at lap 363 with 37 laps to go.
Jeff Gordon was in about 10 car lengths going a lap down, Larry. Dale Jarrett and somebody, I just looked up, I just saw him spinning down, saw Dale Jarrett spinning down the back. He made contact with somebody. Let's see who it is. Oh, there you go. The 42 got into the outside wall. I think Dale Jarrett checked up and got hit from the back. Seen that all night long.
He hit that wall pretty hard on the inside, too.
Couldn't see who got into him, but it was just one of those chain reaction situations.
Thuds like that, they hurt. That's when you say I'm glad it was on the right side.
Jarrett is on pit road, and also cars near the tail end of the lead lap. Kenny and Rusty Wallace, Johnny Benson, Mike Skinner, Dave Blaney, and Jeff Gordon. 36 laps to go. A lot can happen. 366 laps and 12 caution flags, and now we're into the range of your average 35-lap Saturday night shootout.
Oh, and it's going to get sight.
Joe Nemechek trying for his third Winston Cup win.
Green flag, green flag.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. Bobby Labonte, Robbie Gordon, Mark Martin, Ricky Rudd. Here we go.
And the biggest thing with Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car, Bobby Labonte 18 car, they have much fresher left side tires than Joe Nemechek. Remember the last time these guys were to pit road, Joe Nemechek and Peter Suspenzo, they decided to change just those right side tires. But as I watched that 25 car, I talked about Joe Nemechek not even have a job a year ago. It's like Matt Yoakum was telling me also while we were at break, Peter Suspenzo did not have a job 1 year ago, the crew chief.
Unless his tires just give out or Dale Jr.'s holding back a whole lot, I just can't see anybody getting up there and racing that 25.
And the thing about it, Darrell, what will also help him with about 31 laps to go, probably won't have to contend with any lap cars either. Pretty clear racetrack in front of him.
Oh, Jimmy Johnson's around turn 2.
That's going to be big.
Caution.
You noticed all that smoke, folks? The sealer they put on this track, when the cars spin out, it just creates the most smoke and haze at any place we go.
Darrell, that started way back at the entrance of turn 1 when Jack Sprague went under a group of cars 3 wide.
3 wide.
And everybody bottled up.
Put 4 tires on and fix the damage.
Jimmy Johnson on the last lap of 3 races this year has had trouble. And here's a look. It all began when he and Sterling Marlin got together. Was that leaving Las Vegas?
Las Vegas on the last lap. Last lap at Talladega right here.
And last lap last week, he and Mark Martin. And now with 30 laps to go, there's Sprague way on the bottom and things stack up.
Well, there were 3 wide in front of him. He had to check up for Casey Mears.
Hey, the 40 car got him again. That's the guy that got him the first time over in Las Vegas.
Jimmy Johnson, in those 3 races, lost a total of 24 positions. Without those wrecks, he'd be 3rd in points. Instead, he is, oh, what's that, about 90 points further back, 89 points further back. They're not happy with Casey Mears, but I think wasn't Casey the man in the middle?
Yes, that's Jimmy Elledge, Casey Mears' crew chief on the right, Chad Knaus, Jimmy Johnson's crew chief on the left. And they're neighbors in the pits.
I hate that.
So we'll have a 25-lap shootout in the Pontiac Excitement 400. You're watching NASCAR on FX. They just restarted 1 lap ago. You could have gone to your local Saturday night short track and made it home in time for this 25-lap shootout, but Joe Nemechek is taking off.
Boy, Dale Jr. just shoved up there in the middle of turn 2, and Bobby got a heck of a run on him. I think Bobby's a little bit better, Dale Jr. right now, Larry.
Yeah, if he can ever get by him, which he needs to in a hurry if he's ever going to catch Joe Nemechek. He's going to pull to the inside, headed off into turn 1. He should clear him. Dale Jr. pretty much gave him the position there. It's like, that's enough.
Our Pontiac race summary, Joe Nemechek the leader, 20 lead changes. Cautions, 1 shy of the record, 80 laps of caution tonight, but only 6 cars in the garage. Jarrett Craven, Jeff Green, Stewart, Spencer, and Park.
Well, I couldn't help but notice the last time we did in the back straightaway, the shot that our cameras had there, Joe Nemechek headed off into turn 3, bottom out. That's right where the drive-through tunnel is. There's a bad bump there.
Oh,
stacking up off turn 2.
Mayfield stacked him up, and Benton almost paid the price.
Yeah, Benton did bump off and bounce off the outside wall.
No caution, though.
22 to go.
Benson got actually the 16 car. Those 2 cars look a lot like the 10 and the 16 tonight.
I'm going to tell you what, Joe Nemechek, though, he's starting to stretch it out. But Bobby Labonte, now that he's cleared Dale Earnhardt Jr., all he can really...
Whoa, turn 4! Ricky Rudd.
There comes another car in on top of him.
Mike Skinner.
Oh.
Both those cars were on the lead lap. Caution is out.
Darrell, looked like just where Ricky Rudd would start to get back in the gas, the car came right around on him.
I don't know what happened there. I couldn't tell, but he jumped jerked the window net down real quickly.
And Mike Skinner unable to avoid Rudd.
Yeah, Skinner's car is in. Got the rear tires. He's got the rear tires off the ground.
That's not going anywhere.
Boy, the last thing these guys up there, especially our lead lap cars, want to do is go through there and pick up debris.
There's the heat signature.
You can see it right there, a little bit of debris right there, a little bit right there, hot debris. Definitely don't want to drive through that, cut a tire down.
You want to see hot? Right where Ricky Rudd sits. He's hot.
Had a good run.
Yep. They're going to, I think they're going to hold the field here.
Well, they can't get through. We kind of got the track blocked.
Pace car has picked up the rest of the field.
So we see what happened back there.
Ricky Rudd has climbed out.
You know what? I think he may have got a little tap from the 22 car. We'd have to look at that again. The 22 car was right on him as they went into that turn. And they were racing for positions.
There is Ricky Rudd, and he is okay. Mike Skinner spun around, just not much he could do in the middle of the pack there.
Pretty hard impact right there.
Caution is out for the 14th time in the Pontiac Excitement 400. Laps to go at Richmond International Raceway. 14 caution flags. That ties a record we're not proud about breaking. As Ricky Rudd spun in turn 4. And Mike Skinner has climbed from his car and is okay. Not much left to the back of Ricky Rudd's Ford.
No, he pounded that wall.
Or Mike Skinner's Pontiac.
And then Skinner came in and pounded him again. So.
And there is the leading crew chief, Peter Suspenso. Out front is Joe Nemechek with 17 laps to go. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. The Pontiac Excitement 400. Just 15 laps to go. Joe Nemechek, your leader, with Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers in the Hollywood Hotel. Let's talk about Nemechek. It's been 46 races since he's last won a Winston Cup race. In pretty good position here.
Definitely got a fast car, started outside pole, but the guy right now is still impressing me. Is the guy's trying to hang on his point lead. That's Matt Kenseth. Early on, he looked like he was going to wind up going back in the back of the field. But hey, guess what? 15 laps to go. He's up there in that top 10, making us championship points.
Four Chevys, or they had the top 4 spots when the race started, and that's where they are right now. Nemechek followed by Bobby Labonte, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Robbie Gordon. And Labonte has hung in there consistently. Joe Gibbs Racing.
Well, he's always strong right now. Him and Fatback McSwain, they've got that car working good again, and he'll be challenging hard right now, coming from second place, trying to get Nemechek, like I say, with like 14 laps to go.
A track record tying 14 cautions in this race with 14 laps to go. Let's get the finish from Mike Joy, Darrell Waltrip, and Larry McReynolds.
Matt Kenseth, the point leader, is the only one of the top 6 drivers not to lead tonight. Joe Nemechek, 148 laps out in front. Bobby Labonte has led 62. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has led 5 laps. Robbie Gordon, 29. And Mark Martin's been out front for 10.
Yeah, you like. Speaking of that, if it wasn't for Roush, the Ford boys would be hurting tonight.
That's right.
But he's got all 4 of his cars right up there in the top 10. But who do I like? I like the guy I've been liking for quite a while now, the 25.
Guy leading the race right now.
4 Chevrolets out in front. Nemechek, Bobby Labonte, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Robbie Gordon. All have shown at times they've been the fastest car on the racetrack. this restart with about 12 laps to go.
I'm going to tell you a guy that we've not talked about, and I want to talk to him while we're on 1 to go. Tony Raines, a 74 car, unsponsored race car. He's hung out on the lead lap. Great run in the Busch race last night. He's sitting there in 15th position. Give a good call to him, his crew chief, Larry Carter, that whole group. Good run for these guys tonight.
Yeah, he and Mark Tudor last night, the crew chief on his Busch car, they finished third, and Tony, that car has run pretty doggone good most all year, everywhere they've been.
Bill Bumgarner funding this car out of pocket. They have Special Olympics on the hood of that car, but Bumgarner's business pays the bills. They would like to have a sponsor.
And I would have to believe that good run in the Busch car last night, Mark Tudor, on the crew chief on that car, has helped this effort tonight.
I believe so.
Well, we've had 3 shootouts. We're going to have another one.
This is a short shootout.
12 laps to settle this. 9 miles to go.
Get a good restart here. Don't spin any tires. Don't miss the ship.
Bobby Labonte, he wants to clear that lap car. Kenny Schrader in a hurry, and he'll do it before they get to turn 1. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will have to fight with him, though.
Kevin Harvick up into Matt Kenseth.
Boy, that 25 car just jumps off those turns. He comes off the 2 back there. He's backing the throttle hard.
Front row Joe started outside pole. He's trying to become first place, Joe, for the 3rd time. Whoa, Jack Sprague gets turned by Harvick.
Kenny Wallace goes through the infield. The 23 car, caution is out. Caution is out. Kenny Wallace actually goes down and hits the inside wall. Now we'll be coming to 10 to go this time. Before the race, NASCAR determined if we have a caution before lap 395, that's the cutoff point that they would throw a red flag where we'd be guaranteed a green flag finish. Past 395, whatever happens, happens.
Larry, these cars all got going. There's no, I don't think we'll need this will be a quickie yellow. I don't think we'll have to stop the race.
It looked to me, Darrell, like Sprague kind of lost his forward bite off turn 4, and once Kevin Harvick got into him, going through him was his choice rather than checking up and getting hit from behind himself.
Yeah, it was too bad for Kenny Wallace. He really is going to be the guy that suffered in this one.
Had a good run going.
He did. He had a good car.
We're very lucky more cars were not involved in that, having it right there in front of a bunch of cars.
Well, we're down to the time when, here's another look. That's what happened. Just lost
He got loose and had to get out of the throttle, and here comes Harvick and just nowhere to go.
Well, we're down to the point we were talking the other night about when Kyle Petty won his first race. 4 of you were racing for the lead, as we have another look here from Kenny Wallace.
Chain reaction. You know, again, people get in trouble in front of him. And we're hearing that Michael Waltrip, the 15 car, got in the back of Kenny Wallace.
That's too bad. Michael was running 12th.
And from Craig Biffle.
Well, how'd you like to try to drive through that and not hit anything?
The Cedar on this racetrack makes the most smoke anywhere I've ever seen.
That had a Days of Thunder look to it. Kenny Wallace, a lot of damage. Stacker 2 Dodge.
Getting the 1 to go, guys. So that means we're going to have about a 7-lap shootout. We keep saying shootout. That's what it exactly is. Now, the good thing about this, we're within that 10-lap window. Down finger restart, which means single file restarts with lead lap cars only to the front of the pack. We have 23 cars on the lead lap.
Darrell, what was it happened that year when Kyle won the race? Weren't there 4 of you in front of him
well, actually,
for the lead?
Actually, there were 2 of us. Dale and I were up there fighting for the lead, and we got hung together going down the back straightaway and ended up crashed. Here comes Joe Ruttman and I think maybe Dave Marcus, and they spun, and Kyle was way back far enough that he drove through and got his first win.
Yeah, I think Kyle was actually running about...
He was running 5th.
Yeah, 5th or 6th when the white flag came out.
It's never over here until... it's over.
Man, I tell you what, though, the rain just all of a sudden, it just picked up a lot. I'm not so sure I'd want to restart this one.
I'm not sure Joe Nemechek wants to either.
No, and I know Andrea doesn't want to.
7 to go.
You know, I mean, I think we fought weather all night long, and